flu. Jake McDaniel, 93 WIBC Mobile News.
Banning men who identify as women from playing on women's college sports teams in Indiana. A bill doing that advanced out of a committee in the Indiana House on Wednesday.
This bill should just be focused on protecting female athletes at the collegiate level in Indiana.
State Rep Michelle Davis, who wrote the bill, the committee approved it 12-1, sending it to the full House. It had bipartisan support, 3 Democrats joining every Republican in support of the bill. The Indiana Pacers head into the All-Star break with a win over the Washington Wizards, 134-130. Indiana had to erase a big deficit to force overtime. Obi Toppin leading the way with a career-high 31 points. Traffic on the 5s, Matt Baer.
Yeah, Kurt, with that fatal crash on the south side, everything has reopened, including the exit from southbound 65 to Raymond Street and westbound Raymond Street at I-65. Traffic sponsored by Jackson Hewitt, who matters who does your taxes. Want expert tax prep? Jackson Hewitt will give you $100 to switch. Limited time offer for new clients. Participating locations only. Terms at jacksonhewitt.com. I'm Matt Baer on the 5s at WIBC Traffic.
Cold weather brings hot savings at Tom Roush Lincoln. Select 2024 Lincoln Navigators now $12,000 off and get 0% for 72 months. How about an all-new 2024 Lincoln Nautilus now $6,000 off with rates starting at 4.9% for 60 months. So get in on those hot savings at Tom Roush Lincoln in Fishers.
Lincoln Navigator MSRP 104,825. Lincoln Nautilus MSRP 61,695. Offers good through February 28, 2025. Subject to credit approval. See dealer for complete offer details.
Morning, Paula.
Morning, Ron.
Another day in Adminville, am I right?
What are you working on? Oh!
You okay?
Your tabs. You have so many open.
Yeah, gotta order lunch for the big client meeting. With great responsibility comes tabs.
I can help. Close all those tabs and open just one. EasyCater.com. Online ordering from local restaurants. Plus tools to save time, stay on budget, track expenses.
One tab to rule them all.
EasyCater, the smarter way to order food for work. Order now at EasyCater.com.
Go where the pros go. Drexel Interiors for 1951 cabinetry. Visit Drexel's Kitchen and Bath Design Centers at 146th and River Road, North Shadeland, or DrexelIN.com.
The forecast from the American Standard Heating Weather Center.
A few flurries this morning. Otherwise, we are mostly cloudy and colder. Today's highs into the upper 20s, chills into the mid-teens. Tonight, mostly clear, quiet, and colder, a low of 12. I'm Wish TV Storm Track 8 meteorologist Marcus Bailey for 93 WIBC.
Light snow to the north of the listening area on radar, 26 downtown. I'm Kurt Darling on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
You're listening to Rob Kendall.
When we talk about sending money somewhere, we're talking about printing the money because we have no money.
And Casey Daniels.
My government would never lie to me, would they?
On 93 WIBC.
Oh, do we have them rattled down at the State House? These people are the worst kind of people, and they deserve whatever they get.
Piggies go oink.
It's Kendall Casey Show. I'm Rob. Casey's your case. I think I made a friend yesterday.
You know, they say as an adult, it's harder to make friends because people are just closed off and more worried about themselves. So I'm surprised that you were able to make a friend.
Well, you know,
say more words.
We talked about this over the last couple of days, and what you're really seeing on full display from these lawmakers, like Mike Braun's election and his willingness to put the property tax bill front and center, along with Micah Beckwith and his steadfast willingness to say the things that matter, has been, you know, what's the old saying? Sunlight is the best disinfectant, and it is. We're in real time seeing the disinfectant of the Indiana State House, and these lawmakers are scurrying like rats because for the first time, it is really the sunlight is being shown that these people. They're not mad that they're screwing you, which is what they're doing. Well, I mean, make no mistake. The gutting of Senate Bill 1 was the screwing of you. They're not mad they're screwing you. They're mad that they've been caught screwing you, and now it's very public about how they're screwing you.
And they're mad that they're getting called out on it as well.
So, you know, we've talked a lot about this. And what do we do on this show? We give you the information. There's never been a show like this because, quite frankly, there's never been somebody with my experience, who has been a host on this radio station. I know how these people operate. I was around them. I've been an elected official. I know how the system works. So they don't know how to handle this because they can't just do their usual thing about, oh, he's lying. Oh, he's misleading. You notice there's never a follow-up. How many letters now have we had from people where they have said, I've emailed my lawmaker, and if I get a response, it's, oh, Rob's wrong. Oh, Rob's making it up. Oh, Rob's a shock jock. Oh, Rob's this. Oh, he's that.
You're taking it out of context.
And people will follow up with, well, why don't you just go on the show and put him in his place? And then you get radio silence.
Right.
Because we're not making it up. You are getting screwed. You are getting hosed in epic proportions daily down there, and they know what they're doing, and they know they've been caught, and there's nothing they can do about it.
So, Rob Kendall, you have cut property taxes 18.5% in 4 years.
I did do that.
You passed what was the largest voluntary municipal property tax rate reduction in the history of the state of Indiana.
I did do that.
However, I read something last night that said you don't know how the tax system works.
So I'm minding my own business, and then I get inundated. I guess Hammer and Nigel, they read this on the air, and then I got inundated with people about this message that Scott Baldwin, and boy, we're going to talk a lot about Scott Baldwin today because boy, howdy, does he check a bunch of boxes about what we've been telling you for years on this radio. It's Scott Baldwin Day on the program. He is a Hamilton County senator. I think he's from Noblesville. And he was on that committee that voted to screw you the other day and got the property tax bill. Now, one of our coworkers had already sent me his correspondence with that Walker. Is it Kyle Walker? Scott Walker was the governor of Wisconsin, and the whole thing about how they, for some reason, they feel that if they just bombard our coworkers with grief, that they'll speak sense to me. They'll put me in my place. I don't know, but the same thing. It's like all this stuff. Rob this, rob that, blah blah. This is good. Okay, why don't you go on and tell him? Silence. So several of Scott Baldwin's constituents, obviously Hamilton County, listeners of this show, rightfully so, they were sending him emails and correspondence and saying, hey, why did you vote to jerk me around in favor of these bloated, inefficient, ineffective local governments? And one of the great things about these lawmakers is because they're not used to being challenged, because they're just used to people who will kiss their ass and tell them they're great. I mean, they're very narcissistic people. They don't respond well to heat. They don't respond well to being challenged.
They're not used to it.
Right. And so I don't know what was going on in Scott Baldwin's life yesterday. I hope it was a whole bunch of crap of people telling him exactly how much he sucks and the damage he voted to do. But he started saying all the things in the responses to people. And I got a similar response from multiple people. So I know he definitely did.
It's like a template.
I mean, I couldn't.
Copy and paste.
Yes, this has become his template. And I thought I might. Now, keep in mind, I have no power over anyone. I'm not a lawmaker. I don't get to vote on anything. I can't make anybody do anything.
You can, in fact, if you choose to, I wouldn't advise it. You can turn the radio off.
That's right. I've no power over anyone. We just do a radio show right here, 9 to noon each day. And somehow I have become the one to blame for all of this. This is an actual response from a state senator who voted to screw you, Scott Baldwin of Hamilton County. Are you ready? As usual, major context missing, clickbaiting, driving sensationalism without facts in the name of content. It seems the truth doesn't matter. I am happy to chat by phone. Wait, pause. You're happy to chat by phone. You're doing the chatting right now. Why don't you put it in writing for everyone to see? Why do you need to chat by phone?
Yeah.
Clearly you have.
Tell us your reasons.
You have thumbs and fingers. You're transcribing correspondence. Why don't you just put it in writing?
Well, because the sales pitch is so much better
vocally. No doubt his dynamic oratory skills. Yes. All right, go ahead, Kevin. I'm happy to chat by phone about my efforts to get, quote, some tax reform passed in a unique environment. But I'm not playing the wordsmith games with Rob Kendall. Don't make decisions based upon what you hear from this guy, who knows very little about how our tax system works and knows nothing about me or the major efforts it took to get us to at least this stage in reform. It's easy to simplify this when one pays little attention to the details and lacks a desire to understand. Again, happy to chat by phone.
So many comments.
That's a real response from a state senator about somebody asking him, hey, why'd you jerk me around? Okay, so the headline...
Why'd you got SB1?
So first, let's clarify here. What do? I support Mike Braun's property tax plan. I am pissed that they gutted Mike Braun's property tax plan. So the headline from every news outlet in the state should be Baldwin says
Mike Braun knows nothing about property tax reform. Because you supported Braun's plan, and now Baldwin is saying you know nothing about it. So if you know nothing about it, Mike Braun knows nothing.
I mean, just take away the fact that, yeah, you're right, Casey. I did cut property tax rates 18.5% when I was in office. By the way, all the police kept showing up, and the firemen, the roads got built, and we had something like $300 million of new investment in the 4 years I was there, which was a staggering amount back then, pre-inflation. Take that out of the equation. I did defeat 2 school referendums that ultimately, after the referendums were defeated, saving $200 million, by the way, for those communities in the process. All the school construction got done. All the things got built. Everything was fine. Take that out of the equation. Just pretend I don't know anything about property taxes or tax rates or municipal governments or how it works. Take all that out of the equation. All I am doing is supporting the sitting governor of the same party Scott Baldwin is in. All I'm doing is supporting his plan. So what Scott Baldwin is saying when he's saying that I know very little about the tax system is he's saying Mike Braun knows very little about the tax system, and I am not. You can say whatever you want about me. I am not going to let Scott Baldwin sit here and disparage the good gosh darn name of Mike Braun. Now, Casey, we got so much to get to today. We got to take a break. When we come back, we got to talk about what Scott Baldwin does for a living.
Okay.
We got to talk about who pays Scott Baldwin, how he makes his money, and I don't know, Casey, kind of a red flag based on the vote that he cast the other day. But you're the voice of reason. I'll leave it up for you to decide.
It is Kendall and Casey. It's 93 WIBC.
The administration is taking shape.
I, Marco Rubio.
Y un gran honor y le doy las gracias al presidente Trump. I just said I saved a bunch of money by switching to Geico. That's what I said. So.
Hearings and votes continue.
You have said you're asking me, Senator, you're asking me not to sue vaccine.
Confirmations are underway.
The vice president votes in the affirmative, and the nomination is confirmed.
Follow the first 100 days on 93 WIBC and WIBC.com.
Are you nearly maxed out on your credit cards? It doesn't matter if you're using your credit cards for fun or to survive. At the end of the month, your statements come in, and you can either pay them or you can't. If you can't, late fees and interest rates get tacked on. And now you're struggling just to make the minimum payment due. Do you feel trapped? Am I talking to you? Good, because I personally researched some companies that can help you. They may be able to reduce your credit card balances by 50% and stop the late fees. If you qualify, please call our special debt hotline number right now for a complimentary free 5-minute consultation. Deal with your credit card problem now before it gets much worse and put more money back in your pocket. Trust me, I've been there too. Call right now.
800-948-1659. 800-948-1659. 800-948-1659. That's 800-948-1659.
There she is, founder and CEO. High five. Yeah. Dave can't stop celebrating with every business owner in town.
All right, Baker Man, high five.
He's sharing the excitement of big savings with the Comcast Business 5-year price lock guarantee.
Ooh, up top, bike shop.
Yeah. It's 5 years of gig speed internet.
Quick, high five.
5 years of advanced security.
5 years.
And 5 years of a great rate that won't change.
Yeah, law partners. Chamberlain, Messelthorpe, Dubois.
All from the company with 99.9% network reliability. Switch today and get the 5-year price lock guarantee.
5 years.
It's back, but only for a limited time.
Woo!
Powering 5 years of savings, powering possibilities. Comcast Business.
Can't forget you, voiceover guy.
Ah, thanks, Dave.
High five.
Ends 3/9/25. Guaranteed rate applies to monthly service charge for new customers on qualifying internet bundle, excluding taxes and fees. Other restrictions apply.
Hey, this is Travis from Life Church. Do you have questions about God, faith, or church? What if there's a place you could ask them without embarrassment, judgment, or shame? That's the Alpha Course. Bring your questions and we'll even feed you dinner. We'll talk about who Jesus is, what he did on the cross, and what that means for you without the commitment of joining a church. The Alpha Course begins on Monday nights at 6:30 at Life Church Noblesville, beginning March 3rd. Go to lifechurchin.com for more information and to register.
Hey, Pat Sullivan here with an amazing offer for my friends at Hope Plumbing. For the month of February, install a tankless water heater and get $1,000 off. That's right, get $1,000 off any tankless water heater. So if taking endless hot showers, cutting down on your gas bill, and saving space in your home is on your to-do list, call my friends at Hope Plumbing and get your tankless water heater installed today. Visit them online at hopeplumbing.com.
Hey, can you blow up some balloons for Jack's party?
I can't. I'm so congested.
You need Sinex Saline from Vicks.
Sinex Saline Nasal Spray?
Yeah, just Sinex. Breathe.
Sinex Saline instantly clears everyday congestion associated with colds and year-round allergies with a gentle, ultra-fine mist that's no mess and easy to control.
Daddy, we need more balloons.
On it.
Enjoy life's important moments without congestion. Try Sinex Saline from Vicks. Just Sinex. Breathe. Use as directed.
Do you need furnace or heat pump service and need to find a local, well-trained expert you can trust like Family Heating and Air Conditioning? We'll find that American Standard Air dealer at IndyHomeComfort.com.
All right, you're right, Casey.
Yeah.
We just don't have enough time in this segment to tell you all about what Scott Baldwin does for a living and how that should probably raise a red flag for you on how, when you factor in that he voted to totally screw you in support of local governments the other day by gutting Braun's property tax bill. So why don't we do this? Because I need time. Like I don't want to shortchange this at all.
Sure.
Why don't we wait till we'll do that top of next hour?
Okay.
We'll give people a little something to look forward to.
Yeah, absolutely. We don't want to blow up all of our fireworks at once. We can't have the grand finale.
Yeah. Well, and it's Scott Baldwin Day on the program, and this is what
Spread it out.
Well, this is what these people have got to realize, and we've tried to warn them. It's a new day. Does not work the way it used to work, and you guys down the street from us have all the power, right? We don't. You can do whatever you want to do, and you can vote however you want to vote, and ultimately you can lord over whoever you want to lord over. But boy, howdy, you are going to earn it like you have never earned it before. And my goal here every day is to make you as miserable as you make us. And we are organizing and we are motivating. You're getting those emails. And so, new way of doing business. You're going to earn everything you do. And you have two options. You can be for the people, or you can be for the government and the politicians. And you make the choice, and when you make the wrong choice, you're going to feel the pain. So,
well, the government only has as much power as the people will allow. So our job is to shine a light on their actions and hold them accountable. We do have J.D. Prescott, who's going to be joining us momentarily.
Yep.
We're going to talk about that school board bill.
A rare win for something positive down the street from us. Yes, the partisan school board bill cleared the committee. J.D. is also on Ways and Means, so we'll get into a little bit of the property tax stuff with him on the House side as well. But what are we doing? What's going on?
So we talk often about how our government is out of control, and especially with the SB1 and the property tax relief bill, we've been commenting a lot how you don't own your property even when you own your property. You're a continual renter. Well, there's another side of this. This woman is telling a story about how she owns her property, 37 acres of land, in fact, but she can't do certain things with it. Listen to this.
Even if you own 37 acres of land, the government will still control your land. Did y'all know that? Because I didn't know that. And I just walked into the municipal building. And I'm going to put a tiny home on my property. And he immediately said, nope, you can't do that. I was like, what? What are you talking about? I have 37 acres. There's plenty of room to put a tiny home. Nope, you can't do that. You're zoned to have one house on your property. I'm like, dude, my property is massive, okay? And this is for my kids' future, to have a tiny home. Ultimately, I want three little tiny homes in the back corner of our property. Nope, you can't do that. What do you mean you can't do that? No. Zoning is planned for. I'm like, what plans does the government have for my property? I don't understand what you're saying to me. And you could tell this guy had never gotten any pushback because I was pushing back. Like, you're telling me I can't put a tiny home on my property for my children to live in when they're 18, 19, 20, young adults. What are you talking about? No, it's not zoned for that. Okay, so rezone it. And then he's like, well, there's a floodplain here. And I was like, he said 100-year floodplain. I said, well, what year are we on? He couldn't tell me. He's like, it doesn't work like that. I was like, what do you mean? What year are we on? Because we put a drain tile in, so I know it's not flooding back there, okay? So what year is your 100-year floodplain plan? On the map of my property, I can tell you it doesn't flood right here. It doesn't work like that. I'm like, then how does it freaking work, okay? So you're telling me the 100-year floodplain plan is really forever floodplain plan, according to what you guys think about my own property. Is that what you're telling me? And then he's like, well, you have to rezone, but they're not going to approve you. I was like, why wouldn't they approve me? It's my property. So it's absolute madness. And let me tell you, he was speechless. And then he ended up giving me contact information to rezone my property so that way I could ultimately build at least one other home on my land. What the actual F? I had no idea. I thought I was going to go in there and just say, like, give me the form so I can build a tiny home. And they're like, nope, watch, wait, I will come back to you because guarantee you. The hill I die on is when I'm building 3 tiny homes on my 5-acre plot that I rezone.
Okay,
so that my
let's discuss, shall we? Mm-hmm. So this is the challenge with zoning issues, which is there is the society has a vested interest in having the government have some level of dictation what can go where, because you don't want, if you live in a residential neighborhood for a nuclear power plant, this is not Sim City where you just have fun and flood the residents with slime and gook, you know, right? So
correct. The property was clearly zoned for a single family home.
I went through this when I was on the town council, and we had to rewrite the sign and zoning ordinance. And our goal, and we ultimately, I think, succeeded, it's been many, many years now, and it's been totally chopped up since then, was to give people as much leeway as they could. We felt the current one was too restrictive. So you try to find a balancing act of how do we, you know, like with the sign ordinance. Okay, it's your property, but you can't make a sign so big if you're on a street that if somebody's trying to turn, they can't, all right? So there are restrictions, and it took like a year and a half to get this thing done, because every time you want to make people happy, you want to be, as a liberty and freedom person, you want to make it so you can do as much with your land as you possibly can do without disrupting. You cannot disrupt the quality of life of the people
for others
around you, right?
You don't want to live across from the Kenny Rogers Roaster sign.
Right. So having been through this, I am a person who very rarely is sympathetic to the government. I am somewhat sympathetic in the sense of you have to have some zoning, you have to have some restrictions. However, what she is describing is utterly ridiculous, because it sounds like the government has some long-term plan for her property based on the size of it. Now, I don't know the intricacies of the case, but from what she's saying, it sounds like they have some long-term plan. Some development in the future could go there, and we don't want you putting this stuff on your property because we see some developer coming in later. Right, exactly. So that's a different animal of restricting somebody from doing what seems to be pretty reasonable with their property versus the idea of there are some people who are like, it's my land, I can do whatever I want. Nah, that's not exactly the case. But yes, this sounds like an egregious breach of dictation of what somebody can do on their property.
With 37 acres, one little tiny home. I like her idea, though, the tiny home for her kids to live in.
Well, and if you have a house on a property and there's nothing on the property that would prohibit that from happening, then you should be able, especially if it is a house what sounds like a house in the back of another house, which you would have in my mind, seeing how this would go to a planning commission. I realize this is totally like insider nerd baseball speak, but you'd have some sort of drive that would wind back there.
Utilities have already been run.
You'd have to prove that there is applicable ability of the public safety to be able to access the premises in case of a fire or gas leak or whatever. But as long as you do those things, who cares?
The zoning commission should
It's
approve
your
that.
property. Do what you want to do.
It is Kendall and Casey. It's 93 WIBC. And joining us next, JD Prescott.
So what's in the bag today? Yesterday's leftovers? Another lunch meat sandwich? Well, go ahead and pull up a rock and settle in for a half hour of I wish I was eating something else. Or you could be eating something else, or someplace else. If you're brown bagging it at the corner of 30th and Shadeland area, drop over to His Place Eatery for 30 minutes of, why didn't I know about this place sooner? Nothing fancy, not a lot of frills. They save that for the quality of the meal. Like ribs that fall off the bone, southern fried chicken, sides that will cause your taste buds to thank you into tomorrow. Put that in your brown bag and eat it. Better yet, bank the bag. Go to His Place Eatery at the corner of 30th and Shadeland, or the newest location off 86th and Ditch Road. Your dirty boots and work clothes are welcome here. His Place, your place for lunch. Go to hisplaceeatery.com to learn more.
Lanny went to college and racked up huge debt.
A little bit over $100,000.
For a degree he couldn't use? Now what?
I had a friend that went to my computer career.
They even helped him get hired immediately after graduation.
One of the things I love about IT is that you can work from anywhere you want.
You could become an IT pro in just months, including cybersecurity and the basics of AI with zero experience at mycomputercareer.edu.
It worked for me, and I know it can work for you.
This is one student's experience. Individual results vary.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
He calls it the big one. Some light snow on radar. 25 downtown. I'm Kurt Darling for cbeyondtheaddiction.org. Here's what's trending at 9:30. President Trump says today is a big one for reciprocal tariffs. The president has said that the reciprocal tariffs would be for every country the U.S. trades with that places tariffs on American goods. This comes after Trump placed a 10% tariff on Chinese goods last week and 25% tariffs on steel and aluminum on Monday. More hostages in Gaza will be released soon. Fox's Eben Brown.
Hamas now tells Israeli officials they will release 3 more hostages from captivity this Saturday, as originally outlined in the first phase of the negotiated ceasefire. The terror syndicate in Gaza had earlier this week tried claiming Israel had broken the agreement, making claims about Israel not delivering aid items. Hamas's threat of delay drew condemnation from President Trump, who vocally supported Israel if it decided to resume combat. Eben Brown, Fox News.
Meanwhile, President Trump's pick to head up the Department of Education will be on Capitol Hill for her Senate confirmation hearing this morning. Former WWE executive Linda McMahon will be testifying before the Health, Education, Labor, and Pensions Committee. Your opening bell report on 93 WIBC, brought to you by Absolute Wealth Management, LLC. Despite some less than impressive inflation data, stock futures are increasing today. The Dow is up 134 to 44,502. The NASDAQ up 88 to 19,783. And the S&P 500 is up 15 to 6,067. I'm Kurt Darling, on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
We all have people in our lives we interact with. Maybe it's your favorite barista, a neighbor who waves to you every morning, a coworker you grab lunch with, or maybe it's me, the hairstylist you've gone to for years. What if you learned I had a substance use disorder? Would it change how you see me? It's okay to see the addiction, but when you choose to see the person, not just their disease, it can help change someone's life. Learn more at cbeyondtheaddiction.org.
Recent talk about rising interest rates and economic uncertainty may have you wondering if now is the right time to sell your home. Will I get the price I need? Will it take too long? The good news, you don't have to figure it out by yourself. There's a friendly, no-pressure, experienced agent who eats and sleeps Indianapolis real estate our old pal, Mark Dietel. Perhaps you're worried you won't sell your home for the price that you need. Mark Dietel guarantees your home sold at a mutually agreed upon price and deadline, or he will buy it. Listen to what Greg and Franklin had to say about working with Mark Dietel. My tenant moved out of my investment property, and I was ready to sell. I heard about Mark on the radio, and everything they say is true. In 15 days on the market, I had a cash offer I wanted on the property. Selling with Mark Dietel was fast, easy, and profitable. Call the local Indianapolis agent I trust and recommend, and the agent who guarantees your home sold or he'll buy it. Call Mark Dietel at 317-755-4232 for all the details, or go online to markdietel.com. It's Mark, Dietel.com.
Whether you're preparing for retirement, navigating a life transition, or simply wondering if you're on the right path, Howard Bailey Financial is here to help. Together, we'll work on a personalized plan designed to bring greater clarity to your goals and help you approach decisions with confidence. It's not just about numbers, it's about the life you want to lead and the legacy you want to leave behind. With over 20 years of experience, Howard Bailey Financial has been dedicated to guiding individuals as they work toward taking control of their financial future and finding peace of mind. Text PATH to 888-262-1104 to download a free retirement toolkit and start planning for the retirement you've dreamed of. Howard Bailey Financial, helping you turn hope into a plan and dreams into reality. Howard Bailey Securities, LLC is an independent financial services firm and uses a variety of different investment strategies. Please see disclosures at howardbailey.com.
You're listening to the Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIBC.
So it made it through the committee, it seems like. This is a school board bill that says that school boards should be partisan.
It just says we should treat school board elections like every other election in the state.
Declare your party affiliation.
I mean, it's a common sense bill. We've talked about this for years on this show, that it's ridiculous that one election in this state, I mean, the surveyor, what, is there Republican surveying? Is there Republican coronering when you're chopping the body up? Are you doing it in a Republican or Democrat fashion? You gotta put a letter next to those, put a letter next to the most partisan elections of all, which are school board. And our man, what do we call it? Do we call it, say you shepherded it through the House? Is that what the committee? What do we say? How do we describe that?
Well, we've got the bill through committee, so I'm the author of the bill, House Bill 1230.
J.D. Prescott is your name, by the way.
Yes, I am J.D. Prescott.
Yes,
serve House District 33, Randolph, Blackford, Jay, Delaware, and Henry counties. So a large section of East Central Indiana. We got House Bill 1230 through the Elections Committee yesterday. Had a lot of great people there to testify in support of the legislation. And all this bill does is it provides some transparency to the voters. It gives voters more information when they go to the ballot box to have an idea of who they are voting for their school board seats.
Now, unlike the Senate bill, because we had Carlin on, Yoder, the last week, and there's a similar bill in the Senate, your bill's a little more moderate even than that bill, because it just says, hey, we're not even having primaries. You go in the fall, you say, I'm a this, I'm a that, I'm an independent, and you don't even have to go through a primary process. So you actually probably have the more moderate of the two bills.
Yeah, that's correct. So I've actually filed both versions of the bill in the past. So the bill that Senator Byrne has, I've actually filed that one in the past with the primary process. This version is just the general election process. So really a candidate, when they go to run for school board, will have the option to select whether they want to run as a Republican, Democrat, Independent, or they do have the option of checking the box as nonpartisan. So they could still run as nonpartisan, but it does give the ability for a candidate to affiliate with a party.
And you'll be able to police this based on, hey, if you voted in 2 Democrat primaries, or last time you voted in Democrat primary, the county parties will be able to police it with the same way we've seen it with other people, saying you can't run as a Republican for school board. So it's going to apply the same rules that we've applied to everybody else.
That's absolutely correct. And when you look at states like North Carolina, which creates an interesting case study where they have countywide school corporations, and they actually gave it back to the counties to decide whether they want to go to partisan elections or nonpartisan elections. Those counties that have went to partisan elected school board seats, they see a higher voter turnout in those school board races because people can identify at least what that party affiliation is and have some understanding of what that candidate represents. Now, I'm not saying that the party affiliation is the end-all be-all. Just go out, vote straight Republican for every Republican on there, because we all know not everybody's the same within that. You still have to evaluate the candidate. This is just the starting point, not the ending point, to figure out where these school board candidates align.
There seemed to be some questions during the testimony about whether this applies to campaign literature or just on the ballot.
So this is just on the ballot. You can put whatever you want on your campaign literature. I mean, as long as you're following campaign finance laws, have the proper disclaimers. But this is just to clarify on the ballot. So when you go into that ballot box, you know which candidate is the Republican, Democrat, Independent, or if they want to choose that nonpartisan box.
So I'm gonna guess. Let me see if I get this right. I'm gonna guess there were some teacher union people there, some Red for Ed people there. What was the screeching and screaming about this time on the bill? Why did they not like it?
Yeah, they're still trying to claim that the school board seats are nonpartisan, non-political, and I think
what is your pushback to that?
I mean, I think we're kidding ourselves. I mean, when you look at some of the issues coming through our schools, they operate on some of the largest budgets in our community. They are also in charge of curriculum. So when you're looking at both the Republican Party platform and the Democrat Party platform, go and just read the education section and just see if you notice a difference. Yeah. And I've asked that question in committee multiple times to different members. In previous years, I actually read the section of the two-party platforms policy on education, just flat out. Did you notice a difference there? And obviously, yes, there is. I mean, I think everybody care. And the other argument that the opposition said, well, we need to be focused on what's in the best interest of the kids. Well, of course.
What does that mean? What does that mean? The best. And J.D. Prescott is our guest. We're talking about House Bill 1230, which would make school board elections like every other election in the state. I think that's how you have to describe it to people. It's not partisan. We're making this like every single other election in this state. 9-4, so you got all the Republicans to vote for it.
Absolutely, all the Republicans voted for it. And where I was going out with that on the what's in the interest of the best interest of kids, yes, I think everybody will say we want the best interest for the kids, but there's a difference in opinion on what that best interest is, and there's a difference in values between what the Republican Party believes, what the Democrat Party believes, just on philosophy, on where they should be on these issues.
And so many of these school board people, and I got into this years ago with imagine this, I had a little run-in with some school board people. They tried to say, well, we don't represent the taxpayers, we represent the kids. And I said, bull crap, the kids aren't paying for all of this stuff. I think so many times these school board people, they're vested in the thing itself rather than realizing you are serving the taxpayers of this community. And so often we don't make decisions based on what's best for taxpayers.
You're exactly right. And school boards are supposed to be a reflection of the community. And what this does is it helps align to give more information to voters so these school boards can truly be a reflection of the community.
So you had Lieutenant Governor Beckwith at the hearing, and he spoke, and so did WIBC's very own Tony Kinnett was there.
You guys let him in?
Yeah, they did. They did. I saw Tony Kinnett's response, and I thought it was very effective. Would you agree, and what was their argument for transparency?
They hit on some of the same arguments that I've put on. You know, we need to make sure that we are just being transparent to the voters on where people stand on their party platform, so you have an idea of the values and what they represent. And when you look at these school board races, it's easy to go out and try and campaign and try and stay nonpartisan and not, I guess, be transparent to voters. When you have a walkbook and you say, okay, this house is a Republican, I'm going to craft a talking point that appeals to a Republican at this house. The next house, it's a Democrat. I'm going to go and craft a talking point that appeals to a Democrat. You don't have to necessarily hit on every avenue. You just know what appeals to each voter. So that's why some of these school board candidates want to remain nonpartisan, because they want to be able to go and campaign without,
because we call it in these suburban communities, it's I call it like the axis of evil. It's like the coalition builder, where it's like, okay, no, everybody knows you because you're Susie's mom. Oh, well, Susie's on the soccer team, so everybody likes Susie. Okay, well, then you coalition those people with the Democrats. Always know who their candidate is, right? So when you start building those people together, you can get to 50%. Whereas if Susie's mom had to say I'm a Democrat, a bunch of people would be like, Doesn't matter if we like Susie or not. I ain't voting for any Democrats, and it would fix a lot of these issues.
Yep. And Carlin Yoder, which I believe he was on your program a week or so ago, and he brought up the point that, he was talking to a school board member, and this school board member said, you'd be surprised at my party affiliation. And he's like, well, no, I don't want to be surprised. I want to know where you're at. I don't want to elect you and then be surprised where you're at on the issues. We want to know where you're at going in.
J.D. Prescott's our guest. Couple minutes left with him. So now this partisan school board bill, which treats school board elections like every other election in the state, goes to the full House. You got close last year, right?
It's 2 years ago. I didn't have it last year. We took a pause with it being a short session. But yes, 2 years ago, we were really close. I was setting on a number that was just shy of getting it over the finish line. I believe numbers look a lot better this year. We've got a great group of freshmen that came in that seem to be very supportive of the bill, and some other members are hearing from constituents back home and realize this is an issue and we need to address it.
You've got these two bills, one in the House, one in the Senate. They're similar, but they do differ slightly. What do you do in this case? Is it like one takes precedent over the other? Do they both pass?
So hopefully the Senate bill continues to move and this bill continues to move. We are really we're a third of the way through the legislative session, essentially. So once this bill passes, my plan is, given it passes here next week, my intent is to send this bill to Senator Byrne, who is carrying the Senate version of the bill.
Do you just walk it over? You hand it to him? How does that work? I was here. We send it over. Is there a courier?
Pigeon?
How does that work?
The House clerk and the Senate clerk takes care of all that.
You got people.
Yeah, we got people for that.
Excellent.
But upon passage, one of the questions that's asked is, shall the title bill remain the title of the act? Then most likely it shall. And then for most bills, every now and then that changes. And then the second question that's asked by the reader, by the speaker, is who's the Senate sponsor? So that's when we select the Senate sponsor.
I got you.
So he will be the sponsor of this bill is my intent. I intend to be the sponsor of his bill if it gets through the Senate. And then at the end, if both bills pass, both bodies, then we go into what's called conference committee. And then we negotiate out which version of those two bills becomes the preferred bill.
All right. We're running short on time, and I want to ask you this real quick, and we'll have you back as we get closer to this. We're going to need you guys in the House to be the hero in the property taxes, right? You're on Ways and Means. You guys are going to have to be the ones that fix this Senate screw up, right? I mean, you're going to have to do the heavy lifting.
Oh, absolutely. So when you look at Senate Bill 1, now they did give us a couple things to work with. I want to give them a little bit of credit here on a couple.
Don't get out of line, JD.
Couple things here. Now, they did put the start of some property tax relief for ag. That's got to be a part of the discussion too. Now, it's not near as much as I'd like. I think if you look at House Bill 1192, which Kendall Culp and myself authored, that would provide more substantial relief to ag. So we got to make sure we're looking at ag and homeowners across the state at the same time. They did put the 1 year cooling off period for capital referendum projects and move those to the fall elections. So there's some good things in the bill too. I think there's a lot of work to be done on this bill still.
So it's not over,
right? It's far from over.
We need to stay engaged.
It is far from over. You need to stay engaged. The Senate does need to pass this bill. They do need to pass this bill and send it over to us. That way we can work on it in Ways and Means. I encourage your listeners to get a hold of myself, Ways and Means members. Let us know what you would like to be in Senate Bill 1. It is my intent to work towards meaningful property tax relief for homeowners, for ag across the state, and try and get this bill in a place that is similar to something that Governor Braun campaigned on. And I know Governor Braun is working behind the scenes very hard to try and get this across. Go ahead. Sorry, Casey.
Is it possible when it gets over to the House that you guys can put the rate reset back in the bill?
Everything's still on the table. So it's going to be a negotiate. What we have to do is get to a spot where we can get 51-26 and something that the governor is willing to sign on. But to me, it's important that we have true, meaningful property tax relief. We can't continue to just punt this conversation and keep delaying, kicking the can down the road.
All right. Our heroes in the House. That'll be our slogan. Or there could be zeros in the House. We don't know. Hey, thanks for getting this school board bill through committee. We'll do whatever we can to help you with this. It's great that you're doing it. And, man, thanks for the hard work.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. It's Kendall and Casey. It's 93 WIBC.
Coming up on the Hammer and Nigel show this afternoon, the Attorney General, Todd Rokita, is scheduled to join us. Rob Kendall scheduled to join us. We are going to be off the rails all day. 93 WIBC.
Hey, clock's ticking away, Valentine's Day shoppers. It's Terry Stacy, and for last-minute gifts, family-owned Cynthia's Hallmark makes it really easy. Cynthia's fragrant potpourri bouquets are beautiful, and they'll last forever and make a great decor piece for any home. Lots of plush, too, and the hottest plush on the market, Jelly Cat. Cynthia's always carries the softest, most lovable plush for kids of all ages. Cynthia's Spring Marabou lounge shirts and pants, silky smooth and come in beautiful patterns. Buy a pair of lounge pants for just $19.99 and get the lounge shirt for just $4.99, plus a wide selection of Demdeco jewelry and gifts, including the Art Heart Collection. Stunning and share a beautiful sentiment, perfect for those that you love. Speaking of jewelry, Cynthia's in Greenfield carries the most popular jewelry line in the country, gorgeous E. Newton jewelry. Shop locally owned Cynthia's Hallmark for the biggest selection of Valentine's Day gifts. 116th and Allisonville Road, 96th and Lantern Road, 116th and Brook School Road, and in Greenfield.
Life-changing discovery should never be left to chance. IU Indianapolis is Indiana's premier urban research university, home to 50 research centers and institutes, which means our students don't just study groundbreaking research, they make their very own breakthroughs from day one. We're here to make the future happen. Bring on tomorrow. IU Indianapolis. Discover what's next at go.iu.edu/breakthrough.
Cold weather brings hot savings at Tom Roush Lincoln. Select 2024 Lincoln Navigators now $12,000 off and get 0% for 72 months. How about an all-new 2024 Lincoln Nautilus now $6,000 off with rates starting at 4.9% for 60 months. So get in on those hot savings at Tom Roush Lincoln in Fishers.
Lincoln Navigator MSRP 104,825. Lincoln Nautilus MSRP 61,695. Offers good through February 28, 2025. Subject to credit approval. See dealer for complete offer details.
Discover cancer care that empowers you at Community Health Network MD Anderson Cancer Center, with leading-edge treatment options right in your backyard.
I feel blessed and lucky. If I knew someone that was going through what I was going through, I would definitely encourage them to participate in a clinical trial. For me, it was life-changing.
Learn more at ecommunity.com/cancer.
We all have people in our lives we interact with. Maybe it's your favorite barista, a neighbor who waves to you every morning, a coworker you grab lunch with, or maybe it's me, the hairstylist you've gone to for years. What if you learned I had a substance use disorder? Would it change how you see me? It's okay to see the addiction, but when you choose to see the person, not just their disease, it can help change someone's life. Learn more at cbeyondtheaddiction.org.
Morning, Paula.
Morning, Ron.
Another day in Adminville, am I right?
What are you working on? Oh!
You okay?
Your tabs. You have so many open.
Yeah, gotta order lunch for the big client meeting. With great responsibility comes tabs.
I can help. Close all those tabs and open just one, easycater.com. Online ordering from local restaurants, plus tools to save time, stay on budget, track expenses.
One tab to rule them all.
EasyCater, the smarter way to order food for work. Order now at easycater.com.
Hammer and Nigel.
The commander-in-chief doesn't have to watch Matlock with pudding smeared on his face. We've got a commander-in-chief that no longer falls up and down the stairs multiple times. I'm excited for that.
Hammer and Nigel. Afternoons on 93 WIBC.
Well, we were just talking about that partisan school board bill, which made it out of committee. And let's talk about the Department of Education. Donald Trump stated he wants the federal education department to be closed immediately. He said the Department of Education is a big con job.
This is my turn?
Yeah.
Oh, very good.
That's
I
where
didn't know
you
if we were going to play some audio here or not.
Well, we can play that audio.
Well, why don't you?
Okay, let's play this because this is Donald Trump, and he specifically mentions Indiana, Mike Braun, and Jim Banks.
Look, the Department of Education's a big con job. We're ranked, so they rank the top 40 countries in the world. We're ranked number 40th, but we're ranked number one in one department, costs per pupil. So we spend more per pupil than any other country in the world, but we're ranked number 40. We've been between 38 and 40. The last time I looked, it was 38, and then I looked 2 days ago, it came out the new list. It came out at number 40, so we're ranked 40. Norway, Denmark, Sweden, I hate to say it, China, as big as it is, it's ranked in the top 5, and that's a primary competitor. We're ranked number 40. So if we're ranked number 40, that means something's really wrong, right? And I say send it back to Iowa, to Idaho, to Colorado. Send it back to places that, and there are a lot of Indiana. You have a great new governor. You have a great senator that Jim Banks just got elected. You got great people. I'll tell you what, Indiana is going to be fantastic. We probably have 35, maybe 37 states that will do as well as Denmark, Norway, Finland, Sweden. They'll be just as good. Then you have the ones that we all know about. It'll be the same story. But you know what? Even they will be good.
Okay, so pretty much he's saying he wants to end the Department of Education and send everything back to the states.
Look, he's not wrong with anything he's saying. The problem is the Department of Education is created by statute. So he can't just end it, right? The Congress created, the Congress can take it away. So the Congress could do it if they wanted to, and they should. There's zero reason for the federal government to have any say in what's going on, because how kids are educated, and he basically said this, in Idaho can be totally different than Indiana, and that's fine. That is be up to the states. The states set the standards. I would even dumb it down further. Dumb it down is probably the wrong word to use, but I would even bring it closer to home and say that I think Brownsburg should be able to educate their kids however they want, and Avon should be able to educate their kids however they want. I think high schools, the education systems, should be treated like colleges. If you have a degree from Yale, it's more prestigious than if you have a degree from IUP. IUPUI doesn't exist anymore, but you know what I'm saying, right? I mean, and I think if a school system is better and they want to create different standards, and that means something to somebody, if their goal is to be prepared to enter the workforce, I think the control should be as local as it can possibly be. The problem he's going to have is Congress created it. Only Congress can take it away. Now, he can starve it. He can do a lot of things through executive order to make it harder for it to exist, but he cannot get rid of it.
So this is his message then to the people in Congress. In the Department of Education, it's high on his list of agencies that he wants shut down. They employ 4,245 people. They spent $251 billion last year. He did just ask Linda McMahon to be his education secretary. And so what, he's tasking her with the job of shutting it down?
Well, that's why he picked her. I mean, she obviously, I think she has an education degree. So, I mean, she's quote unquote qualified. But he's bringing her in because of her business acumen and her business background and her ability. I mean, you can say whatever you want about wrestling and booger eaters and Dungeons and Dragons players, but she was the business side of it. Vince was the Walt Disney up front. She was the person who ran the business, and she created a multi-billion-dollar entity. She knows how to run business. She knows how to find inefficiency. She's going to be very good at this from that perspective. And if your goal is ultimately to get the federal government out of the mandates anyway on education, doesn't matter whether she's a teacher or not. Can she find waste, fraud, abuse, inefficiencies? I think it's a good choice. All right, when we come back, it's Scott Baldwin Day on the show, Casey.
It is. I've heard that.
And when we come back, we're going to talk about what State Senator Scott Baldwin does for a living, and if that's kind of a red flag based on how he voted to screw you the other day on Senate Bill 1.
It's coming up. It's Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-9379. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-9379. That's 800-575-9379. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Nobody cares for you like family. Family Heating and Air.
Hi,
Hi, this is Malia with Family Heating and Air, and as a mom myself, I know it's really important to keep the kiddos healthy. Air quality, humidity, those are super big issues on my concern list. If you share any of these concerns, give Family a call, 317-577-8077.
Family Heating and Air is your trusted local independent American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer.
Hi, it's Pastor Nathan from Life Church here with my beautiful wife, Christina.
Hello, we are so excited to let you know about our upcoming marriage conference.
You know, we've been married for 25 years, and that doesn't happen without intentionality and hard work.
That's right. So no matter where you are in your marriage, or even if you're looking to get married, you'll want to join us on February 21st and 22nd.
You can get more information at lifechurchin.com and make your marriage a priority as you start off 2025.
Health gives you the ability to love more, feel more, be more. Health gives you the ability to live an extraordinary life. Because every day, no matter the challenges, is a chance to breathe, laugh until your belly aches, cry because you care so much, and experience everything that makes your life truly extraordinary. For 150 years, Franciscan Health has been there, watching extraordinary lives unfold. Love your extraordinary life.
At Uline, the prevailing opinion is, if you don't live it, you don't believe it. The people at Uline believe in hard work, and they live it by being there 24/7 to answer your call, having 41,000 items in stock, and offering same-day shipping from 12 locations across North America. Business owners, sellers, buyers, shippers, and packers believe it. Uline is the hard-working, dependable source for your shipping and industrial supplies. Visit uline.com.
During tax season, your info travels lots of places you can't control.
W-2 arriving from payroll platform 3.
Everything criminals need to steal your identity is on your W-2.
Last call for accountant and home office, 1 minute.
LifeLock monitors hundreds of millions of data points per second.
Tax preparation data centers with service to IRS. All aboard.
If your identity is stolen, we'll fix it guaranteed, or your money back. Save up to 40% your first year with promo code NEWS. Visit lifelock.com. Terms apply.
It's always hunting season at the 27th Annual Indiana Deer, Turkey, and Waterfowl Expo, February 21st through the 23rd at the Indiana State Fairgrounds. It's the largest hunting expo in the Midwest, featuring outfitters from around the globe and the latest hunting, archery, and waterfowl gear. And it's on the final 3 days of the Ford Indianapolis Boat Sport and Travel Show and the Indiana Motorcycle and Power Sports Expo. One ticket gets you into 3 shows. Visit IndySportsShow.com, another Renfro production.
Coming up in 2 minutes, a man on a bike was killed by a car this morning. Plus, Sasha Nixon reports on a controversial bill that's moving through the State House, and a 4-time winner of the Indy 500 prepares for a different 500. I'm Kurt Darling. That and more coming up from the Technology Recycler Studios. You're listening to 93 WYBC at WYBC HD1 Indianapolis. It's 10 o'clock.
Robert F. Kennedy Jr., one last vote away from being in the Trump cabinet. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News, and that vote's expected this hour, and that would make it official for
Robert F. Kennedy Jr. to head the Department of Health and Human Services. He's expected to win full Senate confirmation today on what will probably be a party line vote, despite some concerns about his prior views on vaccines.
That's Fox's Doug Luzader. Now, another nominee Democrats do not support, Kash Patel, to be FBI director, may advance out of the Senate Judiciary Committee this morning. And also this hour, Linda McMahon will face tough questions from Democrats at her confirmation hearing to be Education Secretary. As President Trump and Republicans want that department closed down, Senator Tommy Tuberville tells Fox,
we have got to get back to reading, writing, math, civics, teaching our history to our kids, not indoctrinating our kids.
But Becky Pringle, a teacher and president of the National Education Association, vowed at a rally in Washington,
we will stand up to McMahon and every other anti-public education politician.
Democrats have also been challenging in court the president and Elon Musk, who runs the Department of Government Efficiency, for what they say is illegal overreach, trying to cut federal spending. Musk has told a World Government Summit in Dubai in a video call,
we do need to delete entire agencies as opposed to leave
part of them behind.
President Trump's planning to announce more tariffs today, reciprocal actions against countries who have tariffs on American exports. Another report this morning shows inflation creeping back up more than expected, this time at the wholesale level. The annual rate rose in January. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth still at NATO headquarters, praising President Trump's push to end Russia's war in Ukraine.
The best negotiator on the planet, bringing two sides together to find a negotiated peace.
The president plans to hold talks in person with Russian leader Vladimir Putin to stop the war. But Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky said this morning he will not accept any agreement in talks Ukraine's not directly involved in. America's listening to Fox News.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
Killed on a bike. Some light snow falling downtown. It is 25 degrees. I'm Kirk Darling. Here's what's trending at 10:02. A man on a bicycle hit and killed by a car early this morning on the south side. The man was traveling along Shelby Street when he was hit. The driver who hit the man stayed at the scene. The crash caused some delays on I-65 due to an exit being closed, but that has since been reopened. If you're in northern Indiana, then you saw some snow Wednesday. Jim Anderson with the National Weather Service says another system is on the way, bringing more precipitation.
We'll see some snowfall from that Friday evening into early Saturday morning, and then we'll start to see that transition to a more of a wintry mix on Saturday morning.
Proponents say that it's about fairness. Critics say that it's discriminatory. John Herrick reports on a bill regarding transgender girls.
A bill that was approved in the House Education Committee Wednesday morning would prevent transgender women from participating in women's sports at colleges. Among other things, the measure also requires colleges and universities to establish grievance procedures for students or parents to file claims if they believe a team has violated the gender restrictions. The bill gets reviewed by the full chamber next. John Herrick, 93 WIBC Mobile News.
State troopers rescued a dog in Lake County after getting multiple calls from concerned citizens. They say they saw a Facebook post of the dog in an unsecured crate on a trailer in Gary, and soon after they found that trailer abandoned near a home. Troopers took the dog, and now it's with a foster. Four-time Indy 500 winner Elio Castroneves went through qualifying for the Daytona 500 yesterday. He is guaranteed a world-class driver's provisional, which will put him in the field no matter what. That's rubbing some regular drivers the wrong way.
At the end of the day, I understand. I'm not the one that write rules, by the way. I didn't know that actually these rules exist.
Meanwhile, Mitchell native Chase Briscoe secured the pole position for the race. Drivers will now duel for the remaining positions on the starting grid tonight. I'm Kirk Darling, on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
It's Hammer and Nigel for Window Nation. February is a short month, and if you haven't looked at your calendar yet, it ends on February 28th, which coincidentally is the last day that you can save 60% off all window styles from Window Nation. Plus, you can get zero interest with no payments for 2 years. But now only through the end of February. That's less than 28 days to save big on some of the best windows you could buy. Less than 28 days to get windows that will protect your home and family for decades. Less than 28 days to get a quote on the windows that are going to stop the drafts and leaks and save you money on utility bills every month.
This February, you could miss Groundhog's Day and maybe even Valentine's Day. But do not miss your chance to save 60% off all windows and pay nothing for 2 years only from Window Nation. Schedule that free in-home consultation right now by calling 866-90-NATION or visiting windownation.com.
You're listening to Rob Kendall.
When we talk about sending money somewhere, we're talking about printing the money because we have no money.
And Casey Daniels.
My government would never lie to me, would they?
On 93 WIBC.
A state senator runs a company that makes big money off government construction projects, and then he voted to protect the governments and screw you. Red flag?
Well, it would seem to be a conflict of interest, perhaps. Maybe. It is Kendall and Casey. It's 93 WIBC. Good morning. It is Thursday, February 13th, 6 minutes after 10, and we want to talk about a tax hike machine.
Yeah, our old pal Scott Baldwin. So if you missed the first hour of the show, Scott Baldwin is on that committee, that Senate Tax Committee that screwed you in gutting Braun's property tax bill. Now, Scott Baldwin I think he's from Noblesville. He represents Hamilton County in the state Senate. And like all the other people on that committee, they've been getting emails and phone calls from you because you're rightfully pissed off that they took their collective middle finger and stuck it right in your face to protect these local governments at your expense. And Baldwin, for some reason, I couldn't figure this out, now it's starting to all become more and more clear, sends this just ridiculous response. And multiple people sent me similar things. I mean, I don't know if he was copying and pasting or what he was doing, but somehow I become the center of this response. I don't even know if it needs a dramatic reading again. But
I think it does.
Kev,
but you can tell what this is it's deflection. Somebody reached out to their representative and said, hey, what is going on with this? Why did you do that? And rather than answer the question, you became the boogeyman.
Right. So here is what he wrote. As usual, major context missing, clickbaiting, driving sensationalism, without facts in the name of content. It seems the truth doesn't matter. I am happy to chat by phone about my efforts to get, quote, some tax reform passed in a unique environment. But I'm not playing the wordsmith games with Rob Kendall. Don't make decisions based upon what you hear from this guy, who knows very little about how our tax system works and knows nothing about me or the major efforts it took to get us to at least this stage in reform. It's easy to simplify this when one pays little attention to details and lacks a desire to understand. Again, happy to chat by phone.
By phone? Off the record.
Okay, so, and again, we've reached out several times. He has not disputed this is him. Other people have sent similar responses from him. So we're operating that this is indeed Scott Baldwin. So I'm like, I don't know this guy.
Right.
I've never, that I recall, met this guy.
That's one thing you agree on.
I don't
know each other.
I don't think I've ever had any sort of interaction with him. He must be a regular listener to the program, which we thank him for that since he's talking all about us. I'm like, okay, who is this guy and what does he do? And so I went to his Twitter profile and I see that he works for a company called Envoy Companies. And I'm like, I've never heard of these guys, but they have a Twitter handle. And so I go to their Twitter handle and it appears that they're a construction firm of some sort. I'm thinking, all right, I'd like to know a little bit more because, there's always a reason when people vote to do something. And I can't imagine what the reason would be. Anybody with an IQ of 7 or above would vote to stick it to millions of Hoosiers to protect these local governments when, like yesterday, our old pal Spendin' Sue Finkham just admitted finally on the Twitter box, no public safety is going to be cut, whether Ron's plan passes or not. Well, if I can get that out of her just making her miserable on Twitter and on this radio show for a couple days, surely these Mensa members in the Senate, the smartest and brightest amongst us, would be able to see through that. So I looked up Envoy Companies. And when you go to Envoy Companies, if you just Google Envoy Companies, envoycompanies.com, by the way, if you'd like to see this for yourself, go to our team, Case, and you've done this. You're playing along at home.
Now, how do you spell this? I want to make
ENVOY companies.com.
I want to make sure that I have the right place so that I'm not spreading any sort of misinformation.
Yeah, if you just click on our team.
Got it.
Right there on the executive team.
Oh, who's the chief executive officer?
Scott Baldwin is the chief executive officer. Now, Casey, I did not graduate from business school, but the chief executive officer would mean you run the company.
Yeah.
And you would assume this is the same Scott Baldwin. It looks just like his profile photo. He says he works there.
Yeah.
I think a reasonable person would assume this is the same guy listed here.
They call themselves a construction, development, real estate, and property management company located in Indianapolis, Indiana.
Okay, so
They've managed over $2 billion in construction
lot of
projects.
Money. How much?
$2 billion.
$2 billion. Okay. And so if you look at some of the things they do, it lists, you can list what do we do? Program management, pre-construction services, construction management, project management. So basically they run construction projects.
Sure.
Yeah. Yeah, okay. And how much did you say?
It says they've managed over $2 billion in construction projects.
Man,
they are a comprehensive construction management and development company.
So they're okay. Well, like, what do they do? And so I clicked the little tab there, project. I think there's a projects tab there, and I clicked the project, and right there, great big. What are the first ones I see?
Featured projects?
Schools. Government. So Scott Baldwin, who voted to protect local governments and screw you in the process, runs a company that manages many projects for schools
and government buildings.
Well, Hot Dang, why don't we read some of the, let's go to schools here, shall we? Some of the schools they've done here. Let's see here. Danville Middle School, East Central High School, Hobart High School, Hobart Middle School, Lake Central High School, Lawrence North High School, Peru High School, Sheridan High School, Southmont. A lot of school construction projects. Which property tax? What do property taxes pay for, Casey? No, they don't pay for teachers. No. Oh, it pays for buildings. Hot dang.
Carroll Junior Senior High School. You've got Belzer Middle School, Briar Creek Intermediate School. This is on his website.
Okay, let's go over to a government here now. So keep in mind, we're talking about Scott Baldwin, senator from Hamilton County, who voted to screw you and protect local governments. Let's go to government. Ooh, let's see here. I'm going to skip over one, and then we're going to come back to this one.
I think I know which one you're skipping over.
Anderson Police Department, Elwood Municipal Building, Hamilton County 911 Radio Communications Tower, Hamilton County Animal Shelter, he's got a lot of projects.
Hamilton County Communications Corrections Center.
The Hamilton County senator has all of these projects in Hamilton County. Boy, that's amazing. Hamilton County Corrections Center, Hamilton County E911 Dispatch Center, County Health Annex,
Sugar Creek Fire Station, number 42.
Hamilton County Jail Intake Booking, Boy, the Hamilton County senator has all of these projects. The company that he runs has been a big part of Tipton City Hall, Vernon Township Fire, so Washington Park Amphitheater, Michigan City, Indiana, White River Township Fire Department headquarters and fire station. Now, let's go back to this one, though. Carmel Fire Station, number 44.
It's pretty.
So let's see. So let's work through this. Because here's what was interesting to me, and I think she said this on Twitter, that our old pal Spendin' Sue Finkham, I think, now she can correct this, she will correct this, I believe she tweeted she was asked to testify at the hearing. So my question to her would be, who asked you to testify? Because I know the people that testified against or wanting to support Braun's property tax plan and were against getting screwed, they just went of their own volition. Nobody called them up and said, hey, you got to go. So I wonder who asked her to testify. Let's read about Carmel Fire Station 44. You're located in Carmel. Fire Station 44 project included the demolition of the existing fire station, moving fire operations to a temporary new location, and a new construction case of a 2-story, 16,200 square foot building. So let's review what's going on here. You have the mayor of Carmel testifying in front of a Hamilton County senator.
Correct.
Who runs a company who did a major project. I'm going to guess it wasn't $5 to do this project.
No, probably not.
A major project in her community. Nobody, you watch testimony. Did she stand up and go, hey, Senator Baldwin, just full disclosure, you oversaw this project? Did that come out at any point? Was that revealed? We might have to review the testimony and see. And then, what do you know? He voted in her favor. Oh, my goodness. Oh, wow. Oh, my goodness. Oh, geez.
So I'm sure somewhere along the lines there's been some paperwork signed saying, disclosing any sort of conflict or of interest, but it's the perception.
But did he, before voting on this, tell everybody, hey, I run a company that makes a lot of money off school construction projects. I run a company that makes a lot of money off government projects. Like, is that, just because you fill out a piece of paperwork, do you think the public at large, before hearing this program today, had any idea? And is that right? What's legal and what's ethical? Is that ethical to know that your company potentially makes money off this vote and you vote for it anyway?
So he stood to gain.
Look at the vast array of projects that he does. And this woman is talking in front of him. And at no point is he like, hey, we should probably get this out there. I don't know if he asked her any questions. I don't that we're the city you run. I have had a business relationship with that city. The county. I mean, look at all those Hamilton County projects. That's how does a guy with a straight face just, yeah, this is normal. This is all fine.
So while Sue Finkham is sitting there saying that, public safety is the number one priority in Carmel and she wants to continue down that path, he's sitting there knowing that his company helped build Carmel Fire Station number 44.
That's correct. All right, so let's take a break. We'll have more from Scott Baldwin next hour. We wanted to spread it out for you today. And by the way, if you're as pissed off as we are about this, let Scott Baldwin know about it. Email him. Call him. Maybe he'll send you some crappy responses like he did to the people yesterday, telling you what a horrible human I am. Share them with me. Speaking of sharing... I can't get a response from my senator on how he's going to vote on this bill, but somebody did. So
really?
It's not that he's not responding. He's just not responding to me.
Just to you.
Can I read you the word salad and see if you can make any sense of what this response was when we come back?
Yeah, absolutely.
Great, thank you.
It's Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC.
No matter where you head on your commute, Matt Bear is there. Paris.
Les Champs-Élysées sont un véritable parking ce matin.
Warsaw.
W drodze do pracy, wyjdź trochę wcześniej.
Or Brazil.
Temos bisbilhotice no Rio de Janeiro. Não haja como turista.
Matt, these are all cities in Indiana.
Oh, that makes my job easier.
Making your commute easier. Matt Bear Traffic. Mornings and afternoons on 93 WIBC.
Hi, this is Denny Smith, and I'm betting that you already know that your carpets could use a good cleaning. There's no telling what's in those carpets at this point, and here's some great news. Zerorez has a February special of 3 rooms of carpet cleaning starting at $119, plus a 4th room clean free and $75 off air duct cleaning too. The Zerorez pros know how to get your carpets and floors and rugs and upholstery and even your ductwork really clean. And they can help you deal with the deeply embedded dirt, dander, and allergens, not to mention those pet stains and some of your stains. The game changer is the patented ZR water that uses no soap, leaves no residue, and there are no harsh chemicals because they just aren't needed to get things really clean. It's time to get it all Zerorez-ified. Give them a call, mention WIBC, get 3 rooms cleaned starting at $119, plus a 4th room clean free, and $75 off air duct cleaning. 317-388-5141 or book things online at ZerorezIndy.com.
Joe Montana here. In my football days, I knew the importance of a strong defense. Now I'm sharing how you can help defend your health against pneumococcal pneumonia and invasive pneumococcal disease. Are you 50 or older like me? The CDC now recommends vaccination against pneumococcal disease. Even if you're healthy, your age puts you at increased risk and over 6 times greater risk of hospitalization with pneumococcal pneumonia than adults under 50. Schedule your appointment today at vaxassist.com.
Sponsored by Pfizer.
Mike Rowe here with a quick question. Have you noticed cracks in your drywall, chimney, or exterior walls? I hope not, because if you have, they could be indications that you've got a much bigger problem with your foundation. That's where Indiana Foundation Service comes in, a groundworks company. They can honestly assess your situation and create a plan to stabilize your foundation. Schedule your free inspection at indianafoundation.com/row. And while you're there, check out my latest dirty job.
Licensed in all states where work is performed. See website for detail.
In almost every case, when Advent has solved a breathing triangle problem, it is a one and done. Because we don't want you to be a lifelong patient. We want you to be our next success story.
Go where the pros go. Drexel Interiors. For 1951 cabinetry, visit Drexel's Kitchen and Bath Design Centers at 146th and River Road, North Shadeland, or DrexelIN.com.
You know, I wish we'd had Kevin do this during the break. Pulled one of those old Kamala Harris clips where word salad Kamala.
Yeah.
Where she just says a bunch of things. And I wish we should have done that because I think we could compare this to this email I'm about to read.
Did you get some word salad?
And I'm gonna need you to kind of work through what it actually says. Okay, so it's Kendall and Casey show. My name's Rob. That's Casey. And so, of course, I have, like many Hoosiers, been frustrated that I cannot get a response from my senator, my Hendricks County senator, on how he intends to vote on us getting screwed by the tax committee and what he's going to do about it. Who are you for? Because remember when he was running, Brett Clark is his name. He sent me those flyers saying he was for lowering taxes, low taxes.
Right.
And so I sent the email. I think I read it on the air saying, well, this is, your opportunity to hold true to your flyer. Are you going to be for low taxes? Or are you going to prove this garbage, which actually just raises our taxes for most people over time? And I got the auto response, and I've not heard back. But somebody was able. So he is getting emails. He is responding to emails, just not my emails.
Okay.
But I think for the purposes of this exercise, it will serve the point that I'm trying to make. I'm going to read. Now, this person said, just please don't use my name, but I'm looking at, and maybe he's not responding to his government one. I'll give this is a campaign website. So I think it's fair if I give that email out, right? It's a campaign one. So yep. He was using it to run for Clark for State Senate at gmail.com.
Okay.
Clark since he won't respond to his government one, maybe I'll email this one, but if you'd like to too, email Brett Clark. Clark for State Senate at gmail.com. That sounds like a campaign website, doesn't it?
Is it the number 4?
No, FOR.
Okay.
Clark for State Senate at gmail.com. I think that's fair to get out. That's not like his home address or anything like that. All right. And maybe he'll respond to that one. So I'll send him the same email. But anyway, he said to the listener, thanks for checking in.
Mm-hmm.
I am not on the Tax and Fiscal Committee.
Okay, passing the buck.
It will likely come before the full Senate for a second reading at some point next week. There will likely be more amendments to it before it goes to the House to start the process over again, and will probably change even more when they get done with it. I am not sure how it will end up when it goes to the governor's desk. I have received a lot of feedback from people on both sides of the issue that feel it either goes too far or not far enough. So we will see. Thanks again for taking the time. I hope all is well in your world tonight. What the hell did he just say?
You know what he just said? I don't know. I don't know.
Think about this, Casey. This is a grown-ass man who must have professes to have some reasonably decent level of IQ. He was a county sheriff. He's been an elected official. He has seemingly crafted and formed a budget that is funded in large part by property taxes. He knows how property taxes work. He was in office for 8 years. He ran last year with the governor of his own party, who made this issue his signature agenda issue. That's a year. He's been in there for a month now. And you can't get anything out of this guy on his opinion on it.
I don't know. Read it again.
Brett Clark, you are an embarrassment. You are a pathetic, rotten, disgraceful embarrassment. And no wonder law enforcement got in the condition it did in our county with people like you calling the shots. Thanks for checking in. I'm not on the Tax and Fiscal Committee. It'll likely come before the full Senate for a second reading at some point next week. There will likely be more amendments to it before it goes to the House to start the process over again, and will probably change even more when they get done with it. I'm not sure what will end up when it goes to the governor's desk. I've received a lot of feedback from people on both sides of the issue that feel it either goes too far or not far enough. So we will see. Thanks again for taking the time.
You know what? Let's just spin a wheel. Honestly, I don't know.
Thanks for taking the time. I hope all is well in your world tonight.
This is the type of guy who walks around and has his own theme music. Well, doesn't matter to me.
It is a guy who clearly is not very bright. It's a guy who clearly isn't putting any thought or effort into it. It's a guy who is trying not to offend anyone versus having an opinion and doing what's right for the people. This is gross.
It could go any way. I don't know.
It's not like it's some bill that you wouldn't be aware of that, man, that thing slipped through the House. Now I got to really study up on this and learn about it before we have is there a companion bill in the Senate? It's not some local water issue, or it's not some carve-out bill. It's the signature issue of the governor of your party. You ran on lowering taxes. You sent the flyers to everyone, and then you get asked what you're going to do with this issue, and you just go, I don't know. Hope all's well in your world tonight.
Have a good night.
That's insulting to this guy who took the time to write him. Mm-hmm. That's insulting that Brett Clark, a sitting senator, on the signature issue in front of the body that he is a part of, that's all he would give him.
I mean, eventually he's going to have to vote. He should have said, you know what, I agree with this part of it. I disagree with that part of it. Had it been kept in full, I would have, supported it.
That is just...
But nothing.
That is just unbelievable. But then, look, this is a guy who supported massive tax increases when he was the sheriff in Hendricks County. What he doesn't want to do is say the thing that he thinks, that he believes the government should get as much of your money as they want, that he doesn't believe that there should be any restrictions, that you are nothing but a piggy bank for these people, because that's the way he treated people when he was the sheriff. Just say it. Grow a pair and say it. Grow a pair and say, I don't believe you're entitled to anything. Just be honest with people. This is do we have any decent people over there that are willing to stand up? Is there anybody over on the Senate? I know we got some in the House, the J.D. Prescotts, the Andrew Ireland people. They're out there talking about it. I know we got one in Lieutenant Governor's office with Micah Beckwith. I know we got one in the Governor's office with Mike Braun. Is there anybody in the Senate that's willing to raise their hand and publicly say what is happening over here is crap, that I'm sick of the taxpayers of this state getting screwed, and I'm going to fight for you? Who are these people? Where are they? Because all we see is people voting to screw us, and then guys like this who won't say anything.
I don't know. Hey, ask me a question, Rob. Any question.
Casey, are you enjoying working with Rob?
I don't know. Have a good night. Hope all's good in your world.
I mean, look, I get that sometimes I get a little animated on this program, but I don't think I'm nearly animated enough on this one. Am I?
It just proves they don't want to address it. He's like, I'm not on that committee. This is not my problem.
You are
not my circus.
You are a disgrace.
I don't have to deal with that.
Clark.
Yes, you do. You're going to have to vote on it.
I am so embarrassed that you represent me. And I am so embarrassed that my money goes to you. And
that's right. You pay for that guy to put out that email.
Oh, my gosh. All right. Kurt Darling is next with the news.
It's Kendall Casey on 93 WIBC.
Hi, I'm Charlie Comer from Comer & Cross Premium Garage Floor Coatings. If your garage floor looks bad with stains, cracks, and pits, it makes your entire garage look bad. And a bad epoxy job or chipping paint makes your garage or basement look worse. With one quick call to 1-800-NEW-FLOOR, I can save you $1,000 on a new Comer & Cross garage floor or basement floor during our winter sale. A Comer & Cross concrete floor coating is the gold standard. Guaranteed. A Comer & Cross garage floor won't chip, crack, or show tire lift like epoxy or paint ever. What's the Comer & Cross difference? We make it so easy. We move your stuff out for you. We fix the cracks and pits perfectly. In one day, you will love your gleaming new Comer & Cross garage floor or basement floor just in time for spring. Call us right now for $1,000 in savings during our winter sale. Operators are standing by now at 1-800-NEW-FLOOR. That's 1-800-NEW-FLOOR. Or go to COMERcross.com.
Sometimes I struggle to get to sleep. My body stopped for the day, but my mind is still running. So I take ZzzQuil.
ZzzQuil, the world's #1 sleep aid brand, has a range of non-habit-forming products to fit you and your family's needs. Invest in a great night's sleep for the best you tomorrow.
I'm awake and ready to take on anything.
Better days start with ZzzQuil nights. Explore our products at ZzzQuil.com. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level. On the go.
Cutting spending. Some light snow sticking around on radar. 24 downtown. I'm Kirk Darling. Here's what's trending at 10:30. Elon Musk, who heads up the Department of Government Efficiency, says entire agencies may soon be shut down. Fox's Ryan Schmelz.
In a video call with the World Government Summit in Dubai, the head of DOGE saying, quote, "If we don't remove the roots of the weed, then it's easy for the weed to grow back. Musk's remarks come as the Trump administration continues gutting USAID and pushing for the closure of the Department of Education. It's unlikely Congress will approve the elimination of entire agencies. In Washington, Ryan Schmelz, Fox News.
Robert F. Kennedy Jr.'s nomination to lead the Department of Health and Human Services will face a final vote today. It comes after the Senate voted along party lines to end debate around his nomination yesterday. Meanwhile, President Trump's pick to be FBI Director, Kash Patel, is facing a key procedural vote by the Senate Judiciary Committee. I'm Kirk Darling, on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
Discover cancer care that empowers you at Community Health Network MD Anderson Cancer Center. Our multidisciplinary care team will guide you every step along the way.
It was very overwhelming at first, but I found this whole community of people who are understanding and just very supportive. So I have a lot of thankfulness and gratefulness for who I am through this and after this.
Learn more at ecommunity.com/cancer.
Hey, you can't get any answers from your government, but you can get answers from We Grow Hair Indy. Yeah, we love We Grow Hair Indy, man. 4 years ago, made the choice to go over there, and every time I look in the mirror, I think two things. I think, man, what a beautiful human. And two, I think, thanks to my friend, what are you laughing at, Casey? That's not funny. Thanks to my friends at We Grow Hair Indy. Now, here's how it works. If you're looking at yourself in the mirror and saying, man, I could use a little help on top, but get that confidence back. You call today, 317-522-2995, 317-522-2995. In fact, that number is actually in Kevin's speed dial for someday when he needs it. And then you schedule your totally free, no hassle, no obligation consultation. Darren and the gang will give you some suggestions, and then you take it from there. They'll respond to emails. They'll respond to phone calls. We Grow Hair Indy, way better than the government. And you can see some other people's results at WeGrowHairIndy.com. WeGrowHairIndy.com. Tell them Rob sent you.
I had changed the locks. Didn't even know where she was living. And then one night she calls to say she's getting treatment. Can I drive? I almost hung up. But then I thought, that's my kid. I chose to put away the hurt and the fear and just see my girl.
Addiction is a disease. Standing by a loved one as they fight it will test your faith, patience, and sanity. But it's possible when you see the person, not just their disease. Learn more at cbeyondtheaddiction.org.
I had changed the locks. Didn't even know where she was living. And then one night she calls to say she's getting treatment. Can I drive? I almost hung up. But then I thought, that's my kid. I chose to put away the hurt and the fear and just see my girl.
Addiction is a disease. Standing by a loved one as they fight it will test your faith, patience, and sanity. But it's possible when you see the person, not just their disease. Learn more at cbeyondtheaddiction.org.
Emmer and Nigel here, inviting you to join us as we kick off the weekend every Friday around 5:45 with Beer Sample Friday, brought to you by our friends at Thompson Furniture and Mattress in Columbus.
You're listening to the Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIBC. It's time to hear from you. Kendall and Casey present Voicemails.
The phone number, 317-684-8444. If you'd like to get involved, questions, comments, smart remarks, whatever is on your mind. It is the voicemail segment with Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC. And of course, we begin with a phone call about property taxes and the influence that Mike Braun has.
Hey, you guys are smacking it out of the park today and every day. There's no denying the influence your guys' show is having, especially on the property tax and Braun. And I certainly hope Braun has come to play hardball. I left him multiple voicemails on his way out at the Senate. Whether he ever got them, I don't know. About when he becomes governor, it's not time for wishy-washy and, Eric Holcomb type, type stuff. It's coming in and being a hard ass. Now, I wouldn't necessarily say DeSantis because I'm not a huge DeSantis guy, but I appreciate the way he has operated in Florida. So if you want to use DeSantis as the example, then sure. But, I absolutely believe Micah Beckwith is destined to be a governor here. And, part and parcel of that is, the press conference yesterday with Elon Musk and Trump and all of the uproar that's happening and standing outside. I mean, this stuff is really falling on deaf ears anymore. I mean, the Democrats and the libs and the MSM are all still utilizing the same playbook, and it's really just ineffective.
Okay, so he had a couple thoughts there, and he is saying that, as Democrat libs, mainstream media, the yelling and screaming, it's all ineffective. But the same thing can be said for these rhino-type people in the Republican Party who aren't listening to their voters either.
Yeah, and he's right, though. This is Braun's opportunity. Braun's governorship is going to sink or swim with what he does the next 2 months. And if he comes out in a DeSantis-like fashion, forcefully, publicly, and he has tools at his disposal. We talked about him yesterday. He can very easily say, I ain't signing this bill.
Special session.
And then as soon as the session's over, I'm calling a special session, and we ain't leaving until you guys pass this property tax plan. And he has the bully pulpit. He is the governor, right? He technically has a bigger platform than we do, and he has a lot more power than we do. And the problem for Braun is Micah is leading on this right now. Micah is saying the things that need to be said, and he's the base of the party. The conservatives are seeing who's being forceful in terms of advocating for you. And I'm not doubting that Braun is trying very hard. I'm not. But at some point you got to say, and Braun's a business guy, and he gets this. Doing business the way we've done it so far, it isn't working. And I've been telling these guys this behind the scenes for 2 months. I said, you guys are being too nice to these guys. They're going to screw you, and they did. So now you got to change tactic. Got to change the way you do things. I've been very, very impressed at how hard Braun has tried. And a lot of times in business or sports or whatever, you come in with a game plan doesn't work, you got to adjust on the fly. And Braun needs to, and if he doesn't, people are going to see that.
So Micah Beckwith, he tweeted out just a couple hours ago. He said, Hoosier families are feeling the pressure of rising property taxes, and we need real solutions that put taxpayers first. I mean, that's the sort of tweet that you want to see from Governor Braun.
It is, and I think there's going to be a moment for Braun. I'm fairly confident that they're going to gear up, and he's going to have some big moment where he's going to make the sale. And like we talked with J.D. Prescott earlier, I mean, you're basically moving on to the House at this point. Now, I think somebody will make amendments in the Senate and try to be a hero. I'm not sure those guys are going to let that happen.
Which one of them is it going to be? Who's going to step up?
I think Mike Young will probably do something. He's been for abolishing property taxes for a long time, and they got mad at him and kicked him out of the caucus because he was publicly. They gave him the Jesse Brown treatment during the abortion thing, or he left the caucus or whatever. I don't even remember. But the point is, he's about as popular as I am over there. So we'll see. The real heroes are going to have to be the House Ways and Means Committee, and Braun's going to have to work on those guys. They can easily just tuck the thing back in, and technically, if they tuck the reset for everyone back in, because, we're going to get this with Nikki Kelly later on, there are some good things in this bill. There are some, but it doesn't stop your taxes from going up. Your taxes will continue to go up, and without that rate reset, you're just getting screwed a little bit less than you were getting screwed before, but you still... We're factoring in all the ways you got screwed. They could take the bill right now, put that reset back in there, and you got an even better bill than they started with. It's a very simple fix. It's just the political will and want to of these people in the House and Senate. And do we have more Andrew Irelands and J.D. Prescotts than not? I don't know. I don't know what the answer is. I don't know.
So yesterday we talked about the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame nominees, and Cyndi Lauper is on the list, and you made the claim that Money Changes Everything
That's
is
right.
one of the top 10 best songs of all time.
That's correct.
And we did get a phone call regarding that.
Kendall and Casey. Rob, listen, this is Trucker Tony. I'm in Iowa battling some snowflakes, and it's all good. Not those, the real ones, the cold ones that are white. Get that right. Anyway, listen to your show today. Talking about the Hall of Fame, talking about Cyndi Lauper. Money Changes Everything. Perfect theme song for our representatives in the state. That's what they're saying to their constituents about property taxes. They would rather have the money than to help their constituents to save money. So there you go. You have found a theme song for mostly the Democratic Party and some rhinos, of course, but that's their new theme song. So let's keep it a great day. Be blessed. See ya. Bye.
I like it.
Here's another phone call. Kevin, can we move ahead one to the one called Budget? And this is from Judy. And she just goes on a little Rob Kendall-like rant and calls our legislators little piggies at the trough.
Hi, Kendall, Casey, and Kevin. I was
My name is Jenny, but I was thinking about the budget being balanced and to try to keep it all balanced. But, if we can't balance our budget, we lose our homes and our cars and our meals, and we become homeless. And I've even seen people go to jail for not being able to pay bills. It's just ridiculous when I have to give more money to these little piggies pointing their way to the trough for their meat, greet, and eats that don't even come out of their pocket. It comes out of mine. And these idiots get away with this stuff. That's okay, because I'll tell you what. I'm going to vote for that big bad wolf who knows how to huff and puff. That way we can have a bacon fest right down there on the circle and feed all the homeless. I won't be voting for these idiots again. Ever again. I'll vote Democrat as well. Teach these idiot piggies a lesson. Sorry for the rant. Have a nice day, you guys.
I like it.
Thanks for the phone call. Bacon Fest. That sounds nice.
I like that, and I think so many people, and this is what's crazy. So come back to that conversation we had the other day about the amount of money spent on lobbying and the influence lobbyists
$30
have
million
right against you. The only issue that I can remember that has this sort of universal support amongst the taxpayers, because normally these politicians just do wherever the wind blows, right? They want to stay in office. The only issue out there right now that I can think of that has universal support amongst taxpayers and they're not acting on it, and it's interesting because I think it's sort of the same thing, is the medical marijuana issue. Right. And what that is because of big pharma lobby. Mm-hmm. They will not act on something that 80+% of Hoosiers support because of the big pharma lobby. And the same thing is going on here. They know if you were to poll people across the state, you'd get 80% or more would be for this plan amongst the taxpayers.
Yeah.
But the local government people,
they get too much money.
But then, you read the story today about how much money has that company that Scott Baldwin runs gotten from a lot of it being from school and government-related construction projects. What was it, a $2 billion company or something like that, you said?
Yeah, it says they've managed over $2 billion in construction projects.
And a huge portion of them, we laid them out for you earlier. And by the way, somebody,
I mean, that's right there on their website.
Somebody's plural has sent this to me. A lot of people have sent this to me, an article going back to 2021, raising questions about Baldwin's involvement with this company. And top of next hour, because it's Scott Baldwin Day on the show. Sure. We're going to read you part of this article. This coming by a local paper in Hamilton County. So this has been going on for years, the people questioning this guy's involvement in what he's doing. So it's obviously not just us. All right, Hammer's next.
It's Kendall Casey. It's 93 WIBC.
Coming up on the Hammer and Nigel show this afternoon, the Attorney General, Todd Rokita, is scheduled to join us. Rob Kendall scheduled to join us. We are going to be off the rails all day. 93 WIBC.
If you built a house, you'd start with a strong foundation, right? Now, if you want to build a financial game plan for retirement, you'd start with Social Security. That's the foundation, and here's why. The decision to file for Social Security could impact your taxes, IRA, and 401k withdrawals, spousal benefits, and even your Medicare premiums. Everything is impacted by Social Security. That's why it's critical you get this right.
Nobody knows Social Security like our guy, Bill Demery, your retirement guy here in Indy. Bill is going to do customized. That's important. Customized Social Security analysis just for you. Everybody's different. He'll customize yours. And it's free. Absolutely free, even if you're not a client. So if you've saved more than $200,000 and have not yet filed for Social Security, call our guy, Bill Demery, 317-648-5120. 317-648-5120. Bill Demery, your retirement guy.
Jewelry Gram, it's your friends at Shane Company here to remind you that Valentine's Day is Friday, February 14th. It's the most romantic day of the year to give and get fine jewelry. We have expertly crafted gifts for every type of sweetheart. For the one, we'll help you propose with the dream engagement ring. Come see our wide selection of hand-picked natural and lab-grown diamonds in all shapes and sizes. In stock and ready to compare side by side right here in our store. Or maybe you'll fall in love with a natural, colorful gemstone. At Shane Company, we're known for our sapphires in every color of the rainbow. We have options for every style and budget. Get creative and design a custom necklace with meaningful charms, including 14-karat gold letters, engravable hearts, and birthstones. Our mother-of-pearl heart-shaped collection makes a perfect gift that's ready to give. At Shane Company, love is always in the air with our unmatched free lifetime warranty, everyday competitive prices, and no-pressure shopping experience. Come see us in-store and at shaneco.com. Shane Company, your friend and jeweler.
Life can be full of risks. One thing you shouldn't take a risk with ever is your family's health insurance. If you're self-employed or you now need affordable health insurance, you need to make this free call right now and see how the Health Insurance Helpline can help you get it. We specialize in helping the self-employed and people just like you that need affordable health insurance to get it. We have short and long-term health insurance plans, and some even cover dental, vision, and prescription drugs. Don't take a risk with your family's health insurance. It's not worth it. If you're self-employed or now need affordable health insurance, call right now and learn for free how to get it. Listen, affordable health insurance plans for everyone just like you are a free phone call away. So give us a shout right now.
800-659-7540. 800-659-7540. 800-659-7540. That's 800-659-7540.
Health gives you the ability to love more, feel more, be more. Health gives you the ability to live an extraordinary life. Because every day, no matter the challenges, is a chance to breathe, laugh until your belly aches, cry because you care so much, and experience everything that makes your life truly extraordinary. For 150 years, Franciscan Health has been there, watching extraordinary lives unfold. Love your extraordinary life.
The deals and specials are sizzling hot. It's the Central Indiana Gun and Knife Show this Saturday and Sunday at the Madison County Fairgrounds in Alexandria. The best dealers in the region. Hundreds of tables. Just $6 for adults. Kids 12 and under get in free. Must be 18 or accompanied by an adult. Buy, sell, trade. This Saturday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. and Sunday, 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. at the Madison County Fairgrounds in Alexandria. For more info, visit centralindianagunshows.com.
Garage door problems? Call today for service today. Garage Doors of Indianapolis services all makes of garage doors 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Call today for service today. 875-4577. Call today for service today. Get it fixed right now. Call Garage Doors of Indianapolis at 875-4577 or visit doorstoday.com.
In the morning, call 875-4577. Service today. Today.
Never miss your favorite shows on WIPC. Get your content to go. Tony Katz, Kendall and Casey, Hammer and Nigel, Tony Kennett, The Gun Guy, Home and Garden. Subscribe wherever you get your podcasts.
There it is. And there he is from the #1 rated Hammer and Nigel show. Jason Hammer joins us. Good morning.
Who sings this?
Cyndi Lauper.
That's what I thought. So she was a finalist for next year's Rock and Roll Hall of Fame class.
Correct. She's on the nominees list.
Right.
And I said this is one of the 10 greatest songs of all time.
Well, your taste in music sucks.
It's right up there with Teenage Dream.
I told him that yesterday.
Like, for all the goodwill that you build up, ripping on these lawmakers, trying to get us all money, when you talk about music, you throw it all out the window. Every bit of it.
Well, I will never forget that. I mean, the most, crazy, I don't know what the word would be, Hammer's ever been with me on the air was when I said Teenage Dream was one of the 10 greatest songs of all time.
Katy Perry.
It's when you had the
It's
night
not even
show.
the best Katy Perry song.
The night show, and he went just ballistic. It was like I was worried I was going to have to call some sort of like security intervention or something.
That's the most I've ever been mad at you on the air. The most off air is when you were kind of just getting into the sports betting realm and you totally jinxed and screwed a bet that I had.
That's right.
And I can't repeat those things on the air, but I think there's a lot of people that would appreciate what I had to say.
We were like enacting, what's that Livy Dunn, Paul Schemes meme where she's clapping and then he's like, what did you just do?
Right.
So, some guy hit a home run and I was like, hey, great, Hammer, you're going to win. And then I think they blew it at the end or they called it not a home run. Or
yeah,
something.
they reviewed it and said that it was a foul ball over the pole. And, yeah.
So they put out odds for the March Madness, the bracket.
Yeah. it's early. If you want to jump in, you'll probably never find better odds. That's like what we said yesterday or 2 days ago when we did the NFL stuff. If you want to get something, get it now. The odds will never be better.
That's right.
But there hasn't been an offseason in the NFL. There hasn't been a draft. And with March Madness, so much of it is your bracket that you're in, your region, right?
And if you go listen to Tuesday's show, you and I are in agreement. We think there's one team that there's pretty good money out right now.
Right. Not saying that they're our favorite, but if you're looking for a lottery ticket, right, where you can bet very little and maybe have some hope that you've got a huge payday, we've got that. Now, we're going to do that today on a couple different things. We have another podcast coming out today. Daytona 500 betting.
That's your specialty.
I will lay into that. In many ways, Rob, it's like golf.
Yeah.
Right? You can bet a couple different dudes, and as long as one of them wins, your toes are tapping.
Yep.
Because it's so hard. You've got 41 drivers out there, and anything can happen.
And the thing about the NASCAR, and this is more your world than mine, and I watch every year because I will take your bet and make that bet, and then it gives me something to do. I don't like the changes to the NASCAR because I never know who's actually winning the race. And it seems like some guy who wasn't winning the whole race then wins at the end.
Well, as long as you can survive and be in the top 10 with 10 to go.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about this afternoon. If you're in the top 10 with 10 to go, all bets are off.
Right.
Because then it becomes a demolition derby, and they're green-white checkers, and everybody crashes into each other.
We had this last year. I can't remember who the guy was, but whoever you had said to bet on, he was winning.
Yes.
And then...
with 2 laps to go.
That's right. And then we got screwed. And I felt like I wasted 3 hours, and then this crash just totally screwed me.
That's all we're saying is, if you're in the top 10, you've got a puncher's chance with 10 laps to go.
All right, so Degenerates Next Door, new podcast today. We had one out Tuesday with the NFL futures. All right, starting tomorrow, we're going to begin a new part of your segment with us.
Right. So I read the response that one weasel wrote to one of our listeners. Baldwin.
Yeah.
And
who is bald, by the way.
Good for him. So it's not just a corny gimmick. So all these people are like, well, I don't want to email. I don't want to type it. Call me. We'll have a conversation.
Again, happy to chat by phone.
He said that multiple times.
He did.
So starting tomorrow, we're going to call them by phone.
I love that.
On this segment.
We're going to see if they really want to chat.
Right. We're going to call their bluff, right? This segment, we will call them by phone. Now, there's a chance maybe they're in session. Maybe they're not. But we have to try.
Yeah.
And if not, we will leave a very detailed voicemail, and we will see if they can call you back.
Now, point of order,
Yeah.
they're not in session on Fridays.
Oh.
So does that mean that they won't be there in the State House?
Well, no, they're
Still milling about?
There is no session on Friday, but I mean, if you're making $70,000 a year for 2 or 3 months worth of work, shouldn't you show up 5 days a week?
Shouldn't they be some networking and some, lobbying?
Yeah, shouldn't they be getting a lobbyist paid dinner somewhere or something?
They probably are.
See, and this is the thing where you can really hurt these people because they don't care about people like us.
No.
But if you stop going to these Lincoln dinners, if you stop filling out the flyer, if you stop donating to your local whatever, that's where they feel it.
Cut them off.
Cut them off.
Are we going to announce who we're calling?
Oh, yeah. It's not going to be a secret. I don't want this to be like some sort of ambush thing.
Okay.
They want us to call them. We'll start with Scott Baldwin tomorrow.
Okay.
I just
very
think
good.
you could maybe even start another podcast on this. People could bet on whether they're going to be there, if they're going to answer.
Yeah, it's probably minus 5,000 they're not going to answer. But who knows? Maybe we'll catch lightning in a bottle and
we'll get through the gatekeeper.
Isn't it ridiculous the way these people are behaving and how mad? They're not mad they're screwing you. They're mad they've been caught screwing you.
That's exactly it. They didn't think that anybody would catch on because the news headlines, if you remember, right out of the gate,
was that it passed?
Right. It passes out of committee.
Yeah.
If you didn't follow this stuff as closely as we all do, you'd probably think, oh, great, relief is on the way.
Yeah. Right.
But no, that's not the case at all. So they tried to just hope that people wouldn't catch on. But thankfully, there are a group of people that work at this radio station that want to inform the masses how they're being screwed.
What's going on today on the award-winning Hammer and Nigel show?
So, man, we've got a who's who of Indiana folk, right? So we're going to have Senator Jim Banks.
Oh.
He's scheduled to kick off the show at 3:06. We've got the Attorney General, Todd Rokita, lined up.
Rob Kendall Friend Day on the program.
It is. And then we've got Rob Kendall on the program.
How exciting. We should all be in here together. Rokita and Banks, that'd be great.
That would be like that scene where, the NWO turns on the Macho Man, in the ring.
Remember in Kill Bill when they're in the church?
So we're locked and loaded, man. Nobody brings you better local coverage than 93 WIBC.
You got it. Thanks, Hammer. It's Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC.
Hey, clock's ticking away, Valentine's Day shoppers. It's Terry Stacy, and for last-minute gifts, family-owned Cynthia's Hallmark makes it really easy. Cynthia's fragrant potpourri bouquets are beautiful, and they'll last forever and make a great decor piece for any home. Lots of plush, too, and the hottest plush on the market, Jelly Cat. Cynthia's always carries the softest, most lovable plush for kids of all ages. Cynthia's Spring Marabou lounge shirts and pants, silky smooth and come in beautiful patterns. Buy a pair of lounge pants for just $19.99 and get the lounge shirt for just $4.99, plus a wide selection of Demdeco jewelry and gifts, including the Art Heart collection. Stunning and share a beautiful sentiment, perfect for those that you love. Speaking of jewelry, Cynthia's in Greenfield carries the most popular jewelry line in the country, gorgeous E. Newton jewelry. Shop locally owned Cynthia's Hallmark for the biggest selection of Valentine's Day gifts. 116th and Allisonville Road, 96th and Lantern Road, 116th and Brook School Road, and in Greenfield.
Attention taxpayers. If you or your business owe the IRS back taxes or have years of unfiled tax returns, the IRS has green-lighted billions of dollars in tax relief to those facing financial hardship through its tax relief initiatives. If you have a delinquent tax problem and possibly facing wage garnishment, liens, levies, audits, or already in a payment plan, you may now qualify for significant relief. Qualifying and enrolling in this program could stop all collections, settle your tax problem, and may even reduce what you owe by up to 99%. Call the hotline at Tax Help USA to see if you qualify by dialing 800-210-8808. If you or your business owe at least $10,000 in back taxes to the IRS or state, you can now get the help that you need during these hard economic times. Call Tax Help USA to get your free tax assessment to see what you qualify for by dialing 800-210-8808. 800-210-8808. 800-210-8808.
During tax season, your info travels lots of places you can't control.
W-2 arriving from payroll platform 3.
Everything criminals need to steal your identity is on your W-2.
Last call for accountant and home office. 1 minute.
LifeLock monitors hundreds of millions of data points per second.
Tax preparation data centers with service to IRS. All aboard.
If your identity is stolen, we'll fix it guaranteed, or your money back. Save up to 40% your first year with promo code NEWS. Visit lifelock.com. Terms apply.
This Valentine's Day, the perfect gift is at PA Jewelers inside Premier Arms in Brownsburg. You're going to find that one-of-a-kind piece without breaking the bank. Unique vintage pieces of jewelry dating back to the 1800s. One-of-a-kind pieces from local jewelers. And they also have those wow factor diamonds if you're looking to make this Valentine's Day something special. A big jewelry selection without the big jewelry price. It's more than a kiss. 3754 South Green Street in Brownsburg. 317-858-3030 online at premierarms.com.
Hey, John, why so glum?
I just got let go. The company's downsizing. This is the third time in the last 2 years. I'm done with this.
Have you thought about My Computer Career? I've heard they can train you for a career in IT in just a few months, including cybersecurity and the basics of AI. And you don't need prior training or experience. Now that's a recession-resistant career.
Wow, thanks. I'll check them out.
Go to mycomputercareer.edu and take the free career evaluation. mycomputercareer.edu. Financial aid is available for qualified students, including the GI Bill.
My quality of life is so different, but one of the first things that I noticed was my breathing. I don't ever remember being able to breathe like that.
Go where the pros go. Drexel Interiors for 1951 cabinetry. Visit Drexel's Kitchen and Bath Design Centers at 146th and River Road, North Shadeland, or drexelin.com.
Coming up in 2 minutes, a fatal accident involving a man and a bike on a bike and as well as a car, plus 2 bills in the State House, one on transgender athletes and the other on the death penalty, and the Hoosier will be leading the field to start the Daytona 500 this year. I'm Kurt Darling. That and more coming up from the Technology Recycler Studios after Fox News Radio. You're listening to 93 WYBC, WYBC HD1 Indianapolis. It's 11 o'clock.
They're voting now at the Senate.
I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. To consider Robert F. Kennedy Jr. as Health and Human Services Secretary.
My colleagues on the other side of the aisle, I implore you, think one last time about this vote.
Democratic Minority Leader Chuck Schumer warning against confirming a
wildly unqualified conspiracy theorist to trust with one of the most life or death jobs.
But Kennedy has Republican support. Senator Mike Crapo said before the vote.
Contrary to the attacks that have constantly been made on him, he has made it very clear that he will support safe vaccinations and just wants to see that the research on them is done and done well.
Also right now, a Senate committee is questioning Education Secretary nominee Linda McMahon at her confirmation hearing, and the Judiciary Committee is considering another Trump nominee Democrats don't support, Kash Patel for FBI director. Senator Dick Durbin says
he has neither the experience, the judgment, nor the temperament to lead the FBI.
But Republicans are expected to vote to advance Patel's nomination for full Senate consideration later, as Democrats continue to push back on the president's push to cut the federal workforce and slash spending. At a House hearing this morning into the president's cutbacks at the U.S. Agency for International Development, Congressman Gregory Meeks said,
the American people deserve to have their elected representatives question the administration about the decision to shut down a government agency established in law by Congress. We don't have a king.
Democrats also call Elon Musk's actions leading the Department of Government Efficiency illegal. Musk told a World Government Summit in Dubai in a video call he thinks some agencies will have to be eliminated entirely.
Because if you leave part of them behind, it's easy. It's kind of like if leaving a weed. If you don't remove the roots of the weed, then it's easy for the weed to grow back.
America's listening to Fox News.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
A fatal collision. Spotty snow on radar. It is 24 degrees downtown. I'm Kurt Darling. Here's what's trending at 11:02. A man on a bicycle was hit and killed by a car early this morning on the south side. The man was traveling along Shelby Street when he was hit, and the driver who hit him stayed at the scene. The crash scene caused a few delays on I-65 due to exit closures, but those have since reopened. Banning men who identify as women from playing on women's college sports teams in Indiana. A bill to do that advanced out of a committee in the Indiana House on Wednesday.
This bill should just be focused on protecting female athletes at the collegiate level in Indiana.
State Rep Michelle Davis, who wrote the bill, the committee approved it in the bipartisan fashions, too. 3 Democrats joined every Republican to support the bill. Tossing out the death penalty in Indiana is what Indianapolis Archbishop Charles Thompson wants to see.
We also believe that it's also detrimental to the state itself and to those who have to carry out this action, that it can have great impact on them as well.
A bill to accomplish that has gotten a committee hearing but has not had much movement since January. State police pulled over a man on Tuesday, then he was arrested. Jake McDaniel tells you why.
Just before 7 o'clock in the evening, officers got the call about Kyle Baker driving dangerously in Noble County. Officers say Baker was under the influence, and the proof was at the scene as they saw large amounts of meth and fentanyl. Officers then took Baker to Noble County Jail, and he is facing felony charges of drug possession. Jake McDaniel, 93 WIBC Mobile News.
Indiana native Chase Briscoe is the pole sitter for the Daytona 500 this year. Briscoe clocking an average of 182.745 in qualifying last night. 4-time winner, Indy 500 winner, Helio Castroneves was 39th fastest, but he is in the show regardless with a world-class driver provisional, but he can still race his way in the duels tonight.
If I have to take it, I'll take it. But you got to remember, Indy 500 is the same in similarity rules. You got to race for it.
The fact that he has the provisional is rubbing some regular NASCAR drivers the wrong way. I'm Kurt Darling, on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
If you need to sell your home, if you need to buy a new home, if you need to do both, the only local real estate expert I would trust is Mark Deedle. Here's what Greg in Franklin had to say. My tenant moved out of my investment property and I was ready to sell. I heard about Mark on the radio and everything they say is true. In 15 days on the market, I had a cash offer I wanted on the property. Selling with Mark Deedle was fast, easy, and profitable.
Mark Deedle is the best in the business because of the guarantee. Mark Deedle guarantees your home sold at a mutually agreed upon price and deadline, or he will buy it. That is what separates Mark Dietel from the competition. You pick the move date, no long-term contracts, and you can cancel at any time. Call Mark Dietel today. At least start a conversation. 317-755-4232 or go to markdietel.com. That's Mark, D-I-E-T-E-L, markdietel.com.
You're listening to Rob Kendall.
When we talk about sending money somewhere, we're talking about printing the money because we have no money.
And Casey Daniels.
My government would never lie to me, would they?
On 93 WIPC.
Dang.
Yeah, it is kind of damning, isn't it?
Dang.
Well, I didn't mean to cut you off here, but I just... it turns out Scott Baldwin, the company that he runs, has been making money off Hamilton County for years, and people have been looking into this for quite a while.
Yeah, we're not the first ones to question if there's a conflict of interest. Good morning. It is Kendall and Casey. It's 93 WIBC, Thursday, February 13th. It's 6 minutes after 11. And what Rob is referencing is an article that was written back in September of 2021, and it was published in the Hamilton County Reporter newspaper. Article written by Stu Clampett, at least posted by Stu. And it does raise some questions about a conflict of interest and a Highline project.
So let's reset what we're doing here today. So obviously, many of you may not be aware if you're just tuning in. It's Scott Baldwin Day on the program. Scott Baldwin is a senator. I believe he was elected in 2020. He represents Hamilton County. I think he's from Noblesville.
Yeah.
And he, like many other of the people who are on that tax committee, have been getting an earful from angry constituents pissed off at him that he voted to screw them and millions of other people with helping them with their property taxes in favor in bending a knee to these local government people who, by the way, at least with the mayor Carmel, she admitted, yeah, no cuts to public safety. That's not happening. Of course, she waited until like after the vote and she got her way and then she admitted it. But you know who the most relieved person is that it's take a dump on Scott Baldwin Day?
Sue Finkel.
Sue Finkel.
Oh, we'll talk about her.
We're not
coming
done
up.
with you yet, Sue. And so these people were sending him correspondence, and multiple people.
She's asking, "Hey, why'd you vote that way?"
Yeah, very upset.
What happened?
Why are you screwing the governor?
Yeah.
Why are you screwing the taxpayers? And he got super lippy with multiple people, basically saying, "Don't listen to that guy." I guess we should probably read part of it just to. I mean, it's a long thing. I'm not going to do the voice with the music again. I don't think my voice can deal with it. But he just basically says, I'm not playing the wordsmith games with Rob Kendall. Don't make decisions based on what you hear from this guy who knows very little about about how our tax system works and knows nothing about me or the major efforts it took to get us at least this stage in reform. So I thought to myself, I said, well, okay, first of all, I do know quite a bit about how the tax system works. I cut property taxes 18.5% in 4 years. I defeated 2 school referendums. All the work that the school said they couldn't get done in both Danville and Brownsburg ultimately got done. I do know quite a bit as a former elected official about the tax system. But I thought, I do really not know much about Scott Baldwin. He is right. And boy, howdy, Case. People started flooding in with information on him. And boy, we really even haven't scratched the surface on some of the stuff I got. I just wanted to go over the stuff today I could readily show up on the internet by a simple Google search. And it turns out Scott Baldwin runs a company. He lists it on his Twitter account, by the way, called Envoy. What is Envoy Companies is the name. EnvoyCompanies.com if you'd like to see it for yourself. And they are a construction management company, and it appears
they've managed over $2 billion in construction projects.
A lot of their work, a lot of their money comes from schools and government. A lot of people, myself included, were saying, well, wait a second. This guy voted to gut a bill that would have helped you, the regular citizen, and he gutted the bill which helps
local government.
Yeah. I don't know. Red flag anyone? Hello?
Yeah. They've got it right there on their website. Big picture of Hobart High School. It says, schools, we've built long-standing relationships with school systems. And then there's another one under government. We establish trust with government partners.
And so then you start reading into the government. So clearly, I mean, they make a lot of money off schools and governments. And I think ethically, many people are saying, wait a second, you voted to do something that benefits the very people that you're making money off of at the expense of regular people. And then you start reading just in Hamilton County. And of course, the Mayor Carmel got up there and she spoke. And I don't recall at any point him or her raising their hand saying we've got, contracts or had contracts with your company or had contracts with your city. But like Carmel Station Fire Station 44, Hamilton County 911 Radio Communications Tower, Hamilton County Animal Shelter, Hamilton County Community Corrections Center, Hamilton County E911 Dispatch Center, Hamilton County Health Annex, Hamilton County Jail Intake Booking, Hamilton County Juvenile Services Center. This is a ton of money, Casey, that this guy's company has brought in off Hamilton County, Carmel alone, the contracts with them. And this wasn't disclosed that I saw during this hearing. Now, if somebody could point me to it, I'll gladly refresh the record during this hearing. But then it turns out, because, we're told sometimes nobody listens to the show, and then, ratings say that the listeners are off the charts. So it's somewhere between nobody and ratings off the charts. But a lot of people started sending us this article from back in 2021, and it looks like people have been questioning Scott Baldwin's company and his involvement with that company and that relationship with governments for quite a while.
And it's interesting because one of the things that Sue Finkam, the mayor of Carmel, said that she was very concerned about public safety,
That's
right?
Mm-hmm.
And according to this article, Scott Baldwin, senator, who she was testifying to, envoy was awarded $38 million police station expansion project, and this was under a no-bid contract. And Sue Finkam,
How much was the agreement?
$38 million.
Oh, just $38 million. Now did Sue, because she is in the article, right?
She was a council member at the time.
Who was supportive.
Oh, correct.
Yes.
She defended the process.
No bid contract. So it wasn't like the process where everybody sends a bid in, it's public, and we open it, and then everybody
compares
sees it.
who's offering us the best
So
bang for our buck.
Now, and again, you can read this all in the article if you just and maybe Case, you could retweet that link here in a little bit so people could see it for themselves. So that didn't come up in their little back and forth about how much Envoy got paid for that what I guess essentially amounts to a no bid contract for the police station. That didn't come up, and now Sue Finkam was a big supporter. And then there's this thing in Fishers about how they did some development there, and they got, according to this article, $10 million in TIF money. I mean, like $10 million essentially from the government, and that didn't come up anywhere. And so really this is the average person probably hearing this going, and this guy didn't recuse himself. He didn't say anything before he voted. How many of these other, what I think average person would make somebody conflicted sort of arrangements are going on that things are people are voting on. How often is this going out here? Because we're just one little radio show, and truth be told, if Scott Baldwin hadn't got lippy with our listeners and mentioned my name, I don't know if I'd have been digging into this, but wow, yikes.
Isn't this interesting? Because the article from 2021 says that council members did not disclose Baldwin's CEO position during the process of getting this Carmel Police Headquarters $38 million project. And was that disclosed in the current meeting?
Well, I didn't see all of it. I don't recall it happening. Maybe if Scott would. And by the way, I've offered Scott an opportunity. We'd love for him to come on the show. We'd love to talk to him about this company. We'd love to talk about all the contracts they have. We'd love to talk about why he voted to gut Senate bill.
I don't know, Rob. He said that you have a lack of desire to understand.
That's true.
So inviting him in here to, teach us.
Oh, that's true. Yeah. But here's the thing that I don't get, and this should be the headline across the state, because it's one thing to insult me. Like I'm a big boy, and I know all those people down the street hate me because we have the audacity to talk about what's going on. What I'm really not understanding is why he was so demeaning and insulting to Governor Braun, because in here, it says don't make decisions based upon what you hear from this guy who knows very little about how our tax system works. Well, all I'm doing is supporting Governor Braun's plan and asking for Governor Braun's plan to be passed. So if you're saying I know very little about how the tax system works, then you're indicting the governor as knowing very little about how the tax system works. So I think I'm most upset for Governor Braun that Scott Baldwin thinks so little of our current governor, who worked very hard to put a good plan out for the people.
Yeah, he also said that the major efforts that it took to get
We'd love to know
what
were the major efforts, because what I saw was you guys in committee. I saw no evidence whatsoever that local governments can't make this work, as Sue Finkham admitted on Twitter that public safety won't be cut. And what I saw you guys do with no evidence whatsoever, a lot of evidence that people are hurting across the state. I mean, we've obviously had Daniel Elliott on yesterday and said, hey, there's plenty of money. We got this Trust Indiana model that local governments could use that could free up a bunch of money. What I saw is you, Scott Baldwin, and the 9 other Republicans side with the government people. And the average person is hearing this right now and saying, so you make a lot of money, or your company makes a lot of money off of governments, and we're hurting. They can tighten the belt, as the mayor of Carmel admitted, and yet you voted to side with the local governments over us. Huh. And apparently it's nothing new to the people of Hamilton County about how Scott Baldwin operates.
It does raise some potential conflict of interest questions, being that he's the CEO of that company and a sitting state senator.
So here's the deal for all you people down the street from the State House. And now the great part about it is you're going to think twice every time you send something to someone, because it's going to end up in my hands. Okay? When you send an email, when you make a phone call, it's going to end up in my hands. And you know why it's going to end up in my hands? Because the people see that our show, Hammer and Nigel, we're the people who actually give a damn about them. We're the people who are on their side. We're one of them. We're one of them, and we're fighting for them. And you people down the street from us, with a few exceptions, have made it clear you are fighting against them. So every time you hit send to somebody, could be a friend, could be a stranger, just assume it's going to end up, there's a good chance it's going to end up with us seeing it. And Scott Baldwin learned that the hard way today. You want to get lippy? You want to get mouthy? You want to be Billy Badass on the electronic keyboard? Go ahead. This is what the response is going to be. I am not screwing around on this. I am so sick of watching people get screwed over while these politicians vote what seems to be in their own interest over everybody else.
Well, he says that he's happy to chat by phone, so we're going to place that phone call tomorrow.
Hammer's going to do that tomorrow, and we'll hopefully get the chance. All right, so speaking of people being influenced at the State House, the Capitol Chronicle did that big article on how much money is spent on lobbying, and Nikki Kelly from the Indiana Capitol Chronicle is going to join us next to discuss.
You're listening to Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC.
Hammer and Nigel.
The commander-in-chief no longer needs a diaper change. The commander-in-chief doesn't have to watch Matlock with pudding smeared on his face. We've got a commander-in-chief that no longer falls up and down the stairs multiple times. I'm excited for that. If anything else.
Let's see how long it takes before Pencil Neck Adam Schiff to file some impeachment charge.
Hammer and Nigel, weekdays 3 till 7 on 93 WIBC and WIBC.com.
Greetings from R&R Agency, your Indiana health insurance pros. And a thank you to our loyal customers for making our agency a national sales leader for the 7th straight year. We recently saved a family of 4 over $500 monthly when compared to their ACA plan. You know it's still Obamacare, right? We recently saved a 61-year-old retiring couple over $600 when compared to their COBRA plan. Breaking news. We are now able to offer health insurance to employer groups of all sizes with 2 of the largest insurers in the Midwest. We'll be here when you need us. Quoting my favorite president, what the heck do you have to lose? We can help. As always, God bless America, or at least what's left of her.
Call Ron or Terry at 317-563-0868. That's 317-563-0868. Or go to rragency.org. That's rragency.org. A health plan managed and chosen by you, not the government.
Big Joe here for your trusted local independent American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer, B&W HVAC Plumbing and Electrical.
Coming home to a cold house in the dead of winter isn't just inconvenient, it's expensive. For over 60 years, thousands of Hoosiers have trusted B&W to catch their problems early and keep their families warm and safe. Call 317-214-0108 or go to bplusw.com for fast, reliable service today.
That's 317-214-0108. B&W, your American Standard dealer since 1961.
During tax season, your info travels lots of places you can't control.
W-2 arriving from payroll platform 3.
Everything criminals need to steal your identity is on your W-2.
Last call for accountant and home office, 1 minute.
LifeLock monitors hundreds of millions of data points per second.
Tax preparation data centers with service to IRS. All aboard.
If your identity is stolen, we'll fix it guaranteed, or your money back. Save up to 40% your first year with promo code NEWS. Visit lifelock.com. Terms apply.
Millions of Americans take medicine like Ozempic and Zepbound. Many of them are overpaying by thousands of dollars a year. These GLP-1 medications for diabetes, weight loss, and more may not always be covered by your insurance, but GoodRx can help. GoodRx helps you save every month on prescriptions at over 70,000 pharmacies nationwide. Best of all, it's free to use. Check GoodRx to save on GLP-1s. Just go to GoodRx.com/GLP. That's GoodRx.com/GLP. GoodRx is not insurance, but can be used instead of insurance, including Medicare and other federal and state-funded programs.
Go where the pros go. Drexel Interiors. For 1951 cabinetry, visit Drexel's Kitchen and Bath Design Centers at 146th and River Road, North Shadeland, or DrexelIN.com.
Early in the morning, factory whistle blows, then rises from bed.
It is the Kendall Casey Show. I'm Rob. Casey's here. A lot going on at the State House. Property taxes, of course, but a whole bunch more. And to find out the latest, let's go to one of the best in the business. You know her from the Indiana Capital Chronicle. Nikki Kelly joins us now. Nikki Kelly, hello.
Morning.
So you guys had an article. We talked about it at length a couple days ago, and I just thought it was fascinating, the information you came up with on just how much is spent on lobbying in the state of Indiana.
Yeah, almost $30 million last year. And you got to remember, last year wasn't even a budget year.
Yeah, you guys had the graph, and I thought it was funny because 23, there's kind of like a huge spike. I mean, the numbers are all big, and you go, well, what happened that year? It was a budget year. I mean, that's a staggering amount of money.
It is a massive amount of money. I mean, it seems relatively consistent. A little, it's growing a little in recent years. But yeah, it's a massive amount of money that's going to, try to push various industries. But I think we found that healthcare and energy were the big spenders.
The article was so well written, and I was surprised that you were able to get so many lawmakers to go on the record. And so a couple things stood out to me. And number one was like the amount of time all of these people have been here. And I think like 23 years was the lowest amount. Some it was, like 40, almost 45 years. And I don't know, man, you see that and you go, it kind of just becomes like the status quo for these people. Like sometimes I feel like when you've been somewhere so long, the numbers didn't really seem to mean anything to those people. And I think the average person sees those numbers and goes, yeah, that's a lot of money being spent.
Yeah, we talked to some more veteran lawmakers because we wanted to see if they had noticed any change over the years and how lobbying is performed, transparency and things like that. And so that's why we kind of chose more veteran lawmakers to talk to gauge any changes. But I mean, to be fair, yeah, lobbying is around in every capital of the nation and obviously our nation's capital. And so
yeah.
I think I think people inside the system aren't a surprise because they're faced with it every day.
Yeah, and so that was kind of the takeaway is to the average person, and it sort of comes off as tone deaf, where these guys, I think maybe it was Ron Alting, was like, well, a stake is not going to influence me. Okay, but the average person sees that, and it really is a giant red flag, and these people just seemed kind of tone deaf to the fact that anybody would possibly see you're going to the Colts game with a lobbyist who wants something specific. Like it just seemed like it really failed to register with these people how the outside views that amount of money being spent.
Yeah, they look at it less about the thing they're getting, the steak dinner, the ticket, whatever, and more about the conversations that are going to be had, right? Donald Trump does those conversations on his golf course.
Right.
Is example. And so, people aren't giving him free things. He's giving them free things. I assume they don't pay key fees, but we'll see. So I think they view it more about having a chance to understand a topic a little more, clearly. Now, I will say that in Indiana, because we're a part-time legislature, I think lobbyists do have more of an influence. I know over the years, I've certainly seen lobbyists write full bills, write amendments, things like that. And so, and I think that partly is because we're a part-time legislature, they don't lawmakers have their own lives and their own jobs to get back to. And so there's a limit to how much time they can put in. There's a limit to the staffing that we have that would be able to handle all that.
Yeah, and the one other point on this, Nikki Kelly is our guest. We're talking about the fabulous article at the Indiana Capitol Chronicle on lobbying. Is these lawmakers, the way they say things, it's like you've been in the, and it comes back to the amount of time these people have been there. And it's like, I think you might have been in this bubble too long, because they're like, well, these people are experts. And like you said, they're writing bills. And I think they even alluded to that in your article. And it's like, okay, but these people aren't running a soup kitchen. They have a desired result on what they want to have happen. They're not doing this out of the goodness of their heart. And these lawmakers act like there's some, community do-gooders over here. And it's like, no, they want something.
Well, everyone's getting paid for their part in the system, right? These aren't free, for the most part, aren't free. And frankly, if they were free, you wouldn't be registered lobbyist. I think it was Representative Pierce said in the article that, it is important to remember that every time you're speaking to one or every time someone's testifying, that they come with a bias. And so as long as you keep that forefront, hopefully lawmakers are doing that.
One of the things that we've struggled with is how do you fix this and how do you even it out? Because I'm a person who believes money is free speech and you spend your money how you want to spend it. But man, I'll tell you what, and these lawmakers seem to have no appetite, in your article at least, for reforms to this system. How do regular people then compete with this? Like, I can't get I can't buy a suite at the Colts game. I can't be shelling out each night for dinners at Ruth Chris. How do regular people compete? And it doesn't seem like lawmakers are going to do anything about revamping the system.
I think sort of average citizens, the way they compete is in numbers. You have to, probably one email or one phone call isn't going to do it. But the more people you have with the same message, then lawmakers can't ignore that.
All right, so let's get to the big one, which was property tax. Obviously, there's been just a huge outrage from people after they gutted the property tax bill. You had told me, you said, I think this is going to happen. I thought it was going to happen on the Senate floor. I kind of thought it was going to get maybe out of the committee, although a couple days leading up to it when nobody was talking, I said, this is not going to be good for this bill. Are you surprised that they did it this early, that it didn't even get out of the Senate committee? That's a pretty stinging defeat for Braun unless he can correct course here.
Yeah, I mean, he's got his work cut out for him. If you looked at Governor Braun's plan, they basically took two of the big items out, the ones that would have immediate changes. I ran recently a look at my own tax bill to see what I would have saved under Governor Braun's bill, and it would have been more than $1,000. Obviously not. Now, some of the changes they put in are excellent changes. I mean, I think looking more closely, making local governments, be more upfront about when a tax rate stays the same versus, goes up or down. I think, limiting the levies. Basically, the way I saw it, and I think Brandon Smith was the one who said this, was the new version focuses more on the sort of front end of the system,
right.
The little details, the little complications, whereas Braun really was focusing on the back end, the bills.
Well, and so this is the thing, right? I think there are things in the redone version that will control the rate of growth. I don't think there's any doubt about that. Yeah. But it doesn't help anybody in the immediate, and that has always been Braun's stated goal. Let's help you afford to stay in your home.
Yeah. I mean, it delivers about a third of the savings in the first year, and it also includes farmers in that too. So it's comparing apples to oranges,
sure.
Homeowners.
Nikki, were you surprised about the first-time homebuyer credit? That seemed to come out of nowhere. At least to me, it did, because that wasn't even discussed.
Yeah, I was a little surprised on that, especially because it doesn't really have anything to do with property taxes.
Right.
I mean, it helps you get into that's a great, we want we want to encourage home ownership. We're having housing supply issues. The rents, as we know, are horribly. So I get the issue and why, but I'm not sure how it relates to the property tax.
How did that come up?
I think it was in another bill somewhere, and basically what they did was combine a bunch of these bills into Senate Bill 1.
Okay, so real quick, you've covered, 25 years at least you've been covering the State House, right?
Yeah.
Do you ever remember a Senate Bill 1, or in the House is 1001, right? Like, so either way, sometimes they begin either places. But do you ever remember the signature item getting gutted in committee like this?
Yeah, I do. I mean, they do. If they're going to do significant changes, they do it more in committee than on the floor. That's always been sort of the mantra of the legislature, is that the committees are the workhorse and where the big changes should be. That's not to say they can't amend it on the floor, but the real big ones are usually in committee, just like we're going to see when they do the budget.
Yeah.
The same thing's going to happen when the House Republican budget comes out.
Okay, so before I let you go, what is Braun's play here? I mean, he looks really bad if this is all he gets. Like, what if you were him? What do you think his next move?
I mean, I think he's doing it. He's really keeping up the pressure. He's putting homeowners out in public to show what they're facing. So I think he's doing what he can. He's probably going to have a lot of internal meetings with lawmakers.
All right, find her at Indiana Capital Chronicle, one of the best in the business. Nikki Kelly, thank you.
Thank you.
It's Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
What else he plans with tariffs? I'm Kirk Darling. Here's what's trending at 11:30. New tariffs will be announced soon by President Trump. Fox's Jared Halpern.
In a social media post, President Trump says he'll hold an event in the Oval Office this afternoon on reciprocal tariffs.
The world has taken advantage of the United States. They've charged us massive tariffs that we haven't charged them.
The president says the tariffs would apply to countries who have put tariffs on American goods. At the White House, Jared Halpern, Fox News.
The DOJ is suing the state of New York over its efforts to not support President Trump's immigration policies. On Wednesday, Attorney General Pam Bondi said the DOJ is taking legal action against New York Governor Kathy Hochul and other state leaders over possible resistance to supporting Trump's mass deportation policy regarding illegal migrants. I'm Kirk Darling, on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
If you built a house, you'd start with a strong foundation, right? Now, if you want to build a financial game plan for retirement, you'd start with Social Security. That's the foundation, and here's why. The decision to file for Social Security could impact your taxes, IRA, and 401k withdrawals, spousal benefits, and even your Medicare premiums. Everything is impacted by Social Security. That's why it's critical you get this right.
Nobody knows Social Security like our guy, Bill Demery, your retirement guy here in Indy. Bill is going to do customized. That's important. Customized Social Security analysis just for you. Everybody's different. He'll customize yours. And it's free. Absolutely free, even if you're not a client. So if you've saved more than $200,000 and have not yet filed for Social Security, call our guy, Bill Demery, 317-648-5120. 317-648-5120. Bill Demery, your retirement guy.
Texting enrolls you into recurring automated marketing text messages. Consent not required to purchase. Message and data rates may apply.
Man, I'm in a slump. My energy took a nosedive out of nowhere, and I just don't have the motivation to get things done.
You're over 40. Could be lower testosterone. Have you tried Nugenix Total T?
Nugenix, the testosterone booster on TV?
That's right. Look, I felt the same plunge in my energy after I turned 40, so I tried out Nugenix to see if it would help me.
Did Nugenix make a difference for you?
Night and day. My stamina's way up now. I'm building lean muscle at the gym. I'm totally back on my game. And you could be too. Just send a text to Nugenix. They'll send you a complimentary bottle so you can try it for yourself.
Text LEAP to 321-321 right now for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T. It's the #1 selling testosterone boosting brand at GNC and Walmart. Do it now and they'll also send you a bottle of Nugenix Thermo X, their newest, most powerful fat burner ever, absolutely free. Text LEAP to 321-321. That's LEAP to 321-321.
These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
Valentine's Day is tomorrow, and unless you're an absolutely perfect husband like me, there's probably a chance you can work on your marriage or could use some work on your marriage. And if that's the case, Life Church, we love Life Church, man. They've had such a great impact on my life and my family's life. They're having a marriage conference a week from Friday, February 21st, 22nd, at their Noblesville campus. It's an awesome opportunity for you and your husband or your wife to put some effort into your marriage and come out better on the other side. Life Church has a great website where they talk all about the marriage conference and their campuses all across central Indiana, Noblesville, Fishers, Eagle Creek, and Pendleton, and their online services. Learn more about everything, lifechurchin.com.
This is the story of the one who, as a maintenance specialist for a historic high-rise, knows that vintage charm historically needs constant attention. Which is why when it's time to upgrade turn-of-the-century mechanicals, they turn to Grainger. With easy access to 1 million+ products and the scale to deliver when and where you need them. The right tools and supplies are never far away. So the one can keep that vintage building running like new. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
The deals and specials are sizzling hot. It's the Central Indiana Gun and Knife Show this Saturday and Sunday at the Madison County Fairgrounds in Alexandria. The best dealers in the region. Hundreds of tables. Just $6 for adults. Kids 12 and under get in free. Must be 18 or accompanied by an adult. Buy, sell, trade. This Saturday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. and Sunday, 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. at the Madison County Fairgrounds in Alexandria. For more info, visit centralindianagunshows.com.
Discussing end-of-life matters can be uncomfortable, but it's also necessary to ensure that loved ones' wishes are well known ahead of time. This is Tina McIntosh, president of Joy's House and co-host of the Caregiver Crossing radio program. Up next, I'll share suggestions to help ease anxiety surrounding the talk.
Cardon and Associates offers the finest senior living options tailored to your loved one's needs. Reservations are now being accepted for new apartments at Copper Trace in Westfield. Visit cardon.com.
Direct, open, and honest conversation is the best way to discuss end-of-life wishes. Knowing your loved one's preferred treatments and desired arrangements will ready everyone for when the time comes. Also helpful, creating a will or trust to ensure assets are distributed accordingly. And consider an end-of-life doula to assist your family during the process. More tips like this are available anytime at caregivercrossingradio.org. With new weekly content created by Joy's House and distributed in partnership with Network Indiana, we're an on-air and online support group for Hoosier family caregivers. Hear conversations with experts, access the library of online education, and more at caregivercrossingradio.org.
Show your true love and spoil her with that special Valentine's gift from Pierce Jewelers in Carmel that says, I love you. Remember, shop local, shop smart, shop Pierce Jewelers.
You're listening to the Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIPC.
So in the break, Rob Kendall asks me, what else is going on in the world? We've been talking about a lot of things locally, and I kind of rattled off a list of different things. And one of the things that popped up was how the White House press secretary had a press conference yesterday, and she was asked by, I believe it was Caitlin Collins from CNN, if the AP was barred from the Oval Office because they didn't use Gulf of America. Instead, they keep referring it to Gulf of Mexico. And her answer was that it was a privilege to cover the White House. Nobody has the right to go into the Oval Office and ask the president questions. That's invitation only. And then she went on to say how the Secretary of Interior has redesignated the Gulf of Mexico to Gulf of America. So if there are any publications out there that are still calling it Gulf of Mexico, well, that's misinformation. She went on to ask if Elon Musk has powers of the presidency. And the answer was, of course not. That's absolutely ridiculous. And then Donald Trump had another press conference in the Oval Office, and he was giving more accolades to Elon Musk, and he said that he was going to have another news conference today where they were going to read a list of names of recipients of waste, fraud, and abuse. And you know who really is not happy about this? She's been really leading the charge on this, is Maxine Waters. And then Maxine Waters said the quiet part out loud, Rob. She's admitting why Democrats are terrified of Doge.
People of this country are being violated because all of our privacy is being taken up by Elon Musk and Trump, and we don't know what all they have on us. We don't know what all they have on us.
They don't want that transparency, do they?
That's the equivalent of going, don't look over there.
Mm-hmm.
Well, right. And this is the whole outrage behind all of this. It is, they know, the Democrats know, and look, to some extent, the Republicans, it's been laid out there, conflicts and the amount of money they've made off the government. And they know that that they have been funneling money, moving money around, sending money. Just look at Ukraine. Oh, what, $100 billion disappeared? Where did it go? Well, we know some of it ended up in the hands of the FTX guy, who then proceeded to give it to the Democrats. And that's what they're concerned about. It's not the waste. They're not ashamed of, oh my gosh, they're going to find out we wasted all this money. They're going to find out exactly where it went, who it went to, and in some cases, how they benefited from it.
You had mentioned Ukraine, so another thing that had happened was that Donald Trump said that he had a lengthy phone call with Vladimir Putin, and he directed members of his national security team to immediately begin negotiations aimed at ending Russia's war with Ukraine. He said that he's most likely going to meet with Putin in Saudi Arabia to work on a deal and end the war. Okay. And the one thing that I don't want to hear about is money for reconstruction in Ukraine.
Well, I think that's going to be a non-starter. And in fact, I think Zelensky laid out the idea of giving us access to mineral rights in terms of payment for monies sent. I think this is going to end the way it was always going to end. Ukraine's going to give up some land. Russia's going to then agree not to, invade going further. And a decade from now, we're going to do this all over again. This is how this always works. It was going to end the way it was going to end. You're either going to send ground troops in and be in a ground troop battle with Russia and at war with Russia, or you're going to let them take it. That was always the way it was going to end. There was never any doubt about it. Just do it, get it done with. Try to put as many safeguards as you can in there to prevent it from happening in the future. But I can assure you it will happen again in the future, and we'll be right back here having the same conversation.
So Pete Hegseth yesterday said that the U.S. Will confirm that Ukraine will not join NATO and that there will be no troops deployed to Ukraine. So no NATO membership, no return to the pre-2014 borders, and no more relying on the U.S. for any more military funding.
Yeah, that's good. That's the way it should be. I mean, too much of foreign aid has turned into charity, and we should not be running a charity, especially when we have no money. We have no money. We are $36 trillion in debt, and we keep giving it away to countries, many of them, who do not like us.
And so he kept saying day one, this would be over. Okay, month one. That's what they're moving more towards that. But talk about money. House Republicans, they released their budget resolution. The budget proposal from the House Ways and Means Committee.
How much does it add to the debt case? How much? $4 trillion. That's how much.
$4.5 trillion.
Oh, well, sorry, I sold it. See, nothing ever changes with these people. Nothing ever changes with these people. They are addicted to spending money. It doesn't matter who's in there. The prosecution rests. They did it again.
You're listening to Kendall and Casey. It's 93 WIBC.
Coming up on the Hammer and Nigel show this afternoon, the Attorney General, Todd Rokita, is scheduled to join us. Rob Kendall scheduled to join us. We are going to be off the rails all day. 93 WIBC.
I'm Jeff Jr., founder and CEO of Trajan Wealth. I was born and raised in northern Wisconsin by both my father, who owned a small 10-lane bowling alley, and my mother, who was a nurse, who did her best caring for everyone in our small town. My parents stressed with me that if you were going to do anything, it needed to be done right or not done at all. I later joined the Marine Corps, where additional values were instilled. Values like honor, courage, and commitment. The motto of the Marine Corps, Semper Fi, which means always faithful. The best part of Trajan Wealth, our 100-plus employees who also embrace the exact same values. If your current financial advisor is more interested in selling you something or is more loyal to their own financial gain than yours, give us a call for a second opinion. We would be honored to hear from you. Call Trajan today, 317-480-4040. That's 317-480-4040.
Advisory services offered through Trajan Wealth, LLC, an SEC-registered investment advisor.
We're definitely going to be late to the concert. I feel like we should be there by now.
I'm just taking a little detour.
I gotta fill up my gas tank, and I know this place a couple towns over where the gas is cheaper.
Are you serious? We're gonna be late for the concert because you're driving out of the way for cheaper gas? Just use Upside.
What's Upside?
Upside is the free cashback app that gets you real cash back for every gallon of gas you buy.
Wait, I can get cash back just for buying the gas I need anyway?
Yes, I use it all the time, and I've made around $200. Now pull over so you can download the Upside app before we miss the concert.
Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code WOW25 to get an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime, right to your bank, PayPal, or as a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code WOW25 for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code WOW25 for a 25 cents per gallon bonus. That's code WOW25.
Mornings can start feeling the same. Wake up, brush teeth, go to work. But with breakfast from Wendy's, it's like, wake up, brush teeth, Baconate with a breakfast Baconator. Roll with the sausage breakfast burrito. Buddy it up with a honey buddy. Or get seasoned with seasoned potatoes. And then go to work. Sorry. When you're ready for a fresh wake-up call, gotta be Wendy's.
At participating U.S. Wendy's during breakfast hours.
As an IT professional who handles e-waste, you have the opportunity to guarantee your data security, receive 100% landfill-free disposal, and have peace of mind with R2V3, RIOS, and NAID certifications. Technology Recyclers provides guaranteed data destruction, 100% landfill-free disposal, and the certification to back it up. Protect your data while saving the planet. Businesses receive free pickup of your e-waste from Technology Recyclers. Visit tech-recyclers.com. That's tech-recyclers.com.
Sometimes I struggle to get to sleep. My body stopped for the day, but my mind is still running. So I take ZzzQuil.
ZzzQuil, the world's #1 sleep aid brand, has a range of non-habit-forming products to fit you and your family's needs. Invest in a great night's sleep for the best you tomorrow.
I'm awake and ready to take on anything.
Better days start with ZzzQuil nights. Explore our products at ZzzQuil.com. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
Stay warm and cozy all winter long with a Howald Heating, Air Conditioning, and Plumbing tune-up. Seasonal wear and tear can take its toll on your furnace. Schedule now. Howald Heating, Air Conditioning, and Plumbing, where coming home never felt so good.
Inside Indiana Business Radio, the news you need to get ahead. Indiana's business news leader, weekdays at 6:32 a.m. and 5:56 p.m. on WIBC.
Check out what's going on with 93 WIBC.
She said, what do you know?
Listen to Hammer and Nigel Monday through Friday this week for your chance to win a pair of tickets to see Jeff Foxworthy February 21st at the Fishers Event Center.
I know you need to pray for Tom. I just got
more info online at WIBC.com.
My name's Joe. I'm the CEO.
Well, Rob, it's been a hell of a show today. You must be absolutely exhausted.
Oh, Casey, this is sport for me.
This energizes you, doesn't it?
You know, I heard Larry Bird say this. There's a video. Obviously, I wasn't alive when it happened. I heard Larry Bird when he first got drafted by the Boston Celtics, and then obviously he became a great player. This may have been after they won their first championship. He said, I didn't let Mr. Auerbach know this, Red Auerbach, who ran the Boston Celtics, but I'd have played for free.
Yeah.
And I didn't let Dion know this.
But you'd have done this for free.
But I did this show for free.
You know, you remind me of like Michael Jordan. You know, this is sort of like your flu game, although you're perfectly healthy right now. But some people just get energized more when the pressure is on.
Well, look at what we've laid out today. The bull crap that goes on in this state from people like Scott Baldwin. Scott Baldwin is an Indiana senator who runs a construction management company that has made a fortune
off of government contracts.
Yeah, and then he votes to protect these government entities and screw you by gutting Braun's property tax plan. And that's how business works down the street from us. Think about if we weren't here. Who would be talking about that? Where would that information be getting out? It wouldn't be getting out. It's business as usual down there. I am happy if my purpose in life is to expose the bullcrap
waste, fraud, and abuse
down the street from us, because you need to know who these people are and how they're jerking you around.
You know, we get a lot of calls for, we need Indiana Doge. We need somebody to hold everybody accountable like Elon Musk here in Indiana. And I think you are actually doing that work for free.
Well, this is the point when people have said for years, why don't you run for this and why don't you run for that?
You do more good here.
This is way more valuable. And look, is it going to change anything? I don't know. Probably not. I mean, look, you know, we had Nikki Kelly on earlier and we talked about this earlier this week, $30 million spent on lobbying.
Right.
They've rigged the system so that they can do whatever they want to do. But at least you'll know when you see these people out in public, they're not good people. They're not your friends. They're not on your side. They're not working hard on your behalf. They're working hard on their own behalf.
Oh, yeah. They're looking out for themselves constantly, and it's been on clear display for the past couple weeks.
Yeah, and this is I've been waiting 8 years for this moment, right? Like we have the people in the executive positions in Braun and Micah who have been willing to put the legislation out there that is the disinfectant. It's the sunlight, right? Like sunlight is the best disinfectant, and it's putting the sunlight out on these people. So now when Scott Baldwin shows his mug somewhere, you're going to associate that guy with the guy who makes a fortune, who runs a company who makes a fortune off government construction contracts, and who voted to screw you over to continue to protect governments at your expense. That's what you'll associate with him now. Mission accomplished.
So I don't know, when we leave here, do you go home and nap, or are you still wide awake? Like once you shut it all off, you're at home, your own sanctuary, your domain. Do you like to shut it down, or do you just
I work out. This is how I maintain this very fabulous figure. My problem is I eat like garbage.
Okay.
If I didn't eat like garbage, I mean, I would look like Lou Ferrigno if I didn't.
Well, you do look like the Hulk sometimes. The reason I bring up the nap
watch a lot of TV. Like Unsolved Mysteries reruns, Chris Hansen reruns.
So that's how you just wind down. You shut it off. I bring it up because there was a new study that came out, and it says that there is an ideal time to take a nap every single day.
What is it?
And it works perfectly within your window.
What is it?
It's 1:42 p.m. and it should be exactly 51 minutes.
A nap? That's some 51 minutes. What do you get out of 51 minutes?
The ideal wake-up time is 2:33. Naps that are longer than an hour and 26 minutes can lead to grogginess and disorientation.
Here's my problem with the nap. No, obviously I have a toddler, and we get her from daycare in the afternoon. So I've got about a 3-hour window from the time I get home where I can pretty much do what I want to do. Well, the problem is if I nap, then that's an hour or 2 hours of getting productive stuff done around the house.
Like watching Unsolved Mysteries.
Well, I also do other things, right? I mean, I just, that's my problem with the napping is it would probably be ideal for me. You definitely nap in the afternoons because there are hour periods where I will not hear from you. And I know you're napping.
There are days when I do. I take a little siesta.
You are always like respond right away person. And then I know when you're taking a nap because they'll just be like 2 hours where I don't. But like you don't have a child in the house anymore. And so the problem is, obviously, you get your kid from daycare, then you got to be a dad, you got to read to him, you got to play with him, you got to, it's 2-3 hours of that before they're ready to go to bed. So I basically got like a 3-hour window to myself. And whatever I do in that 3-hour window, it means I can't do something else.
Right.
And so, I don't know. I feel like a nap is just a lot of times a waste of that very good
I don't sleep very
quiet.
well at night. And maybe it's because of the nap.
Yeah.
And it's throwing everything off. But I'm exhausted now because my child is 23 years old and I'm making up for all of that lost time when she was young like yours.
Well, now, has your life changed now that your husband is not in the house anymore?
Yes.
By the way, let me clarify. I don't mean like he passed away or left. I mean he has a full-time job now.
He doesn't work from home anymore.
Yeah, he was an entrepreneur that worked from home until very recently. Has your life changed since he is not at the house anymore?
Yeah, a little bit. When I used to get home from work and he was there, I'd be like, oh my gosh, I'm never here by myself, not even a single minute. And now that I get home from work and he's at his job out of the house, I'm like, oh, it's so quiet here. Where is he? Isn't that funny? Sometimes you get what you wish for and be careful what you wish for.
So like my wife most of the time works from home, but there are certain days each week where she will just go into her work. And I always notice a huge difference on a day where I come home where she is at work versus when
it's very quiet, isn't it?
It's just like
peaceful.
And you don't.
But do you miss her? Are you kind of like, oh,
I love my
she's
wife
not
very
here.
much.
I wanted to tell her something.
It's horrible to have to sit in a house by myself and do whatever I want to do for a few hours. It's just the worst case. But it is weird because for someone like me, I spent so long being self-employed that for years the norm for me was you stay up till 3. You wake up at noon. Hey, you want SpaghettiOs for breakfast? Hey, that's fine. And that was the norm for me. And then you realize you don't realize how much free time you had until you don't have it anymore. I will sit around some days where I've got that 2 or 3 hour window and ponder, what did I do with all of my time? Where did it all go? What did I know where some of it went, but but I mean in as a collective, I should have been a rocket scientist or certainly a millionaire.
You had only applied yourself.
I mean, seriously, I must have just spent most of that time just jacking around doing nothing.
Yeah, most
because
likely.
I'm a pretty productive person now with no free time whatsoever.
Yeah.
Think of.
Well, now your back's against the wall. You got to get stuff done in a shorter amount of time.
Bingo. And you just hit the nail on the head. And so to bring this conversation full circle, it's sort of the property tax argument, right?
Yeah.
Like the government, the local governments can do it if they're made to do it.
They just don't want to.
The same way I can get all of my stuff done.
Yeah, if you have to.
If I have to.
If you're forced to, you can.
I can do in 3 hours what used to take me 8 hours.
Yeah. So the preferred nap locations, 53% nap in bed, 38% nap on the couch. And the study found out that nappers, people who do nap, have a better social life.
Do you listen to things while you're napping?
Well, that's a whole part of their study, as a lot of people like the TV. 47% fall asleep with the TV on. 7% use a white noise machine.
What are you?
I'm a white
You're
noise
a white
machine.
noise machine person.
Yeah. And that started because of the snoring that was
Jim's
happening
snoring,
next to me.
Yeah.
I tried to drown that out. It doesn't really work. But now I'm like Pavlov's dog. When the white noise machine turns on, I'm like, oh, it's time to sleep.
Yeah, there you go. All right, time for us to go.
Okay. Thank you, Rob. Thank you, Kevin. Thank you for listening today. It is Kendall and Casey on 93 W.